This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the RTM Rules and Ordinance Committee. It is almost 7 p.m. on June 16th, and I'll call the meeting to order, and let's have the roll call.
John Hartwell.
I'm here.
Richard Jennings, here. Susan Dayhill.
Here.
Sean Kelly.
Present.
Ralph Murray.
Absent.
Tricia Anderson.
Here.
Peter Henschel.
Here. Did everybody get the meeting minutes from the last meeting? And do we have any corrections, or are they acceptable?
Yes. Motion to approve.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Terrific. So the first thing I'd like to do is to have us make a motion to move item 6 on the agenda up to 3 to get that taken care of first. That's the time change for the RTM meeting.
So
Do I have a
moved.
motion? Second.
Second.
Everybody in favor of changing the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the
Sure doesn't count.
basic proposal here, after some discussion between the two caucuses, was to change our normal RTM meeting time from 8 o'clock to 7:30. That is in one of our rules, 8.4, so it requires an actual rule change. In the document I gave you is the current way it's worded, and this went back to 1965, and the wording is a little strange in addition to the fact that they talk about the budget meeting and they talk about the meeting at elections. They also rule out July and August meetings, but we typically have been scheduling them and then canceling them, which I think is a better approach. So that the amended version takes care of that, both those two things. It also adds in the fact that the moderator can designate the time and place for a change in the meeting location, and it can be virtual. It's either a place or a virtual location, meaning it could be a Zoom meeting. So that was changed, and then we added in subject to the provisions of the charter or any other state law. We added that in just for good measure. So those are the changes.
Why October?
Why October? What?
It says each month except May, July, August, and October. I wonder why October.
I don't know. Unless they were thinking about the
October of the municipal or
municipal elections or something. I don't know. I have no idea.
It's just random.
I can see what Bill
October.
Anaskevich knows.
It's just interesting. And why May? I mean,
Maybe it's just 1965.
May was because that's the budget meeting. And so
Oh, right,
different
May. I'm
day.
thinking March. That's right. Right. So May is budget. So they give everybody a break in June, which is weird. Okay. Sorry.
And I did, just as a matter of interest, I did already send this to Bill Anaskevich for review, because we need to do that, and it's fine with him. He's okay with this wording.
Why
So
do
do
you
we-
think 1965 is there? I mean, maybe it was something of October 1965.
That's and I know it's October
Might have just been that
1965.
October of that year.
Yeah.
Was there a? There was.
is that when the high school was built?
Could it be when it switched over to an RTM as opposed to a town meeting, a regular town meeting? Because I think at one point there was something in October.
Yeah, something happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that the answer to your question about October, as Sean said, might have just been for that year.
It was, because it says October
1965.
1965, so
Yeah.
it's just that 1 year.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So you have any discussion on this? Hearing none, do I have a motion that we approve?
so moved.
Second. A question, sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
The Branford Fire Headquarters.
Yep.
That is where we normally hold our meetings.
um,
So by September, when this comes into effect, I think we're going to be back there. But this also allows, if there for some reason has to be an alternative location, the moderator
Oh, it's in, sorry.
can
Sorry.
note it.
We were there all along, and then when the police department was under construction, they shifted over to that space. So we got pushed over to here. So now that that's all coming to an end, we can go back to our regularly scheduled program.
Although the parking's better here.
It depends on if there's a function
Yeah,
downstairs
that's
or
true,
not.
that's true.
If there's a game,
Yeah.
forget it. Okay.
So
And
everybody,
yoga and all the other good things.
we already have a motion. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that is approved as noted. And by the way, some of you may have overheard, we're thinking of trying to get Tracy to establish a special meeting of the RTM.
She's
by
raising her hand.
Sorry, Tracy. Hi, Tracy. So Tracy, the idea is to establish special meeting of the RTM so that we can, there are actually 3 things now that might be addressed, but it'd be all by Zoom. They can take place probably in 5 minutes, so it'd be very quick, and Tracy will have to organize when we could do that, hopefully between Monday and Friday of the first week of June, but we'll see. This would be one of the things that we could get established. If we do that, then you would have to establish the schedule change too, so that that can get put on the website.
I'm sorry, what's the special meeting for?
That we would be addressing 3 things. One is we can take care of this so that we can get it in, so our first meeting in September can actually be
7:30.
7:30.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons.
Yep.
Another was that we have the funding, which hopefully, and there's no reason why it wouldn't be funded, funding for the road flooding sensor system pilot project
Okay,
that the Board of Finance on the 29th hopefully will approve roughly $19,000 for. And I want to get that approved so that we can go into the contractual and DOT approval things that we need before the summer. And then the third thing was a very minor transfer of funds from Conservation Commission that you might have recalled, but in our budget meeting, we actually approved that shift. I think it's a shift from one line item to another, and it didn't get picked up in the actual budget for some reason.
oh, wow.
So this would just be correcting that error. And Heather,
At our last meeting, we did transfer $900 to miscellaneous.
in our last meeting,
Yeah,
Last week.
that was the $900 that didn't come to your committee because I didn't.
so we already did that.
It's already
Did you say
done.
19?
900.
Oh, 900, yeah, we just,
$900.
He did say 19.
I thought I heard 19,000.
19,000 was the pilot project,
okay.
but 900 is the
The transfer?
transfer.
Oh,
It was done.
So it's just the flood sensors and.
Check.
So I guess
time
we
change.
took care of that.
I mean, we
think.
could go into
Unless
the,
there's anything else at the.
Can you just double check and make sure that was in fact
I could
it was
go
the
onto the
Conservation
agenda.
Commission, do you remember?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I completely forgot that then. We took care of it. I'll tell Heather it's already done deal.
Yeah.
Done.
So it's just
The
those
meeting just got shorter.
So the meeting now, instead of 15 minutes, is 10 minutes.
So it's just those 2 that we talked about.
Yeah,
prior
just
to
those 2.
coming, so-
Well, unless something else pops up between
Right.
now and,
Right.
I mean, whatever the Board of Finance, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's not going to come out until a couple days before the meeting, so.
Okay, moving
Got it
on.
there.
What about the
900?
bond we need for the?
Right, is that the same
I
thing you're
guess
talking about?
Yeah, I'm
That's-
brain dead. I
Let's,
can-
let's
okay.
not here. Let's.
And that was on
that's
6,
got nothing to do with this.
Peter, how much of that announcement needs to be in the
June
minutes?
10th.
How much of which
There may be there will be
I
an RTM.
I wouldn't put it
Don't
in at
mention
all.
it.
Doesn't belong.
It's not part of our official business.
Okay.
Okay, so the next item, which would be now number 4, is to consider and if appropriate, recommend that the RTM designate the road known as Jefferson Place in Branford as a town road as petitioned by the adjacent property owners. And as we have done in previous meetings, we are waiting for the mid-July completion of the survey and title search work. And we won't be addressing this until we find out the results of that, which we will presumably will take up in September. So I would request that we make a motion to request that we refer this matter.
Second.
I can't make a
Yeah.
motion.
Oh,
Motion.
so moved.
So everybody in favor?
Aye.
So that'll be a request, we refer that. The next item is to consider and if appropriate, recommend the establishment of an administrative town ordinance to create a traffic authority as allowed under state statute to assume the powers and duties related to traffic currently held by the Board of Police Commissioners. The actual group that we are creating, we're calling a commission, not an authority. The authority is just a word of art here. Dan and Victoria and I are on the working group, and we have met in a Zoom meeting yesterday, and there is in your package a beginning draft of that ordinance, which we discussed yesterday and made some modifications on, and I'll have Dan come up and
Thank you.
address the basics.
So you have the draft in front of you, and thank you, Peter. The authority and commission, by the way, change was, I had asked the first selectman, because there was some subtle differences in the wording. And I think I shared it the last time we were here, what some of the highlights were of each, and it seemed to me that there was a little bit in each that were applicable, and I ran it by the first selectman. I had thought it would be commission, he agreed, so that's why we changed it to commission. It wasn't something we just willy-nilly decided we liked the word better.
Often, I think authorities have the ability to address funds, go to budget and address funds and commissions.
Yeah, I have that sheet somewhere here. So we have this draft here. We've cleaned it up. We're pretty good with what we're ready to submit. The categories are the same. I think the real differences are the highlights that I'd like to point out from that we had significant discussion on.
Remember, Dan, that the committee hasn't heard any of this, so.
Well, we went through this last time, didn't we?
Yes.
We didn't do a draft ordinance, so did we? We just had the highlights.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Is everybody
I thought we sort of did go
clear
through.
with the purpose and the authority part of this? We can-
I'd like to hear the review.
All right, well, you have it in front of you. I mean, I can, we're establishing a new traffic commission for the town of Branford. In essence, what we're doing is taking the traffic commission duties that were previously held by the police department, making them a separate commission. The responsibilities that will include but not be limited to managing, regulating traffic and transportation, reviewing traffic-related concerns and requests from citizens, neighborhood organizations, staff, and others, improving road safety, implementing safety campaigns, installing traffic signals, maintaining street signs and road markings, and to conform to the regulations established by the Office of State Traffic Authorization. Our authority is through a public act that, as far as I can see, has not been codified into a permanent statute site as of now. And then if we will go into the appointments of the commissioners. And we have landed on 7 commissioners. As you can see, the commissioners would be selected from people that have to be electors or individual owners of property or representative entities, meaning corporations, LLCs, et cetera, within the town of Branford.
Where are you reading?
I'm now on number 3A.
3A1.
Okay, oh, I see, okay.
So that, basically trying to keep it so it's the citizens of Branford, the town interest of Branford as important to the people that would be appointed as the commissioners. Now, number,
And we did have unanimous vote, as I think we talked about that last.
we did. Yep, we unanimous vote by the Board of Selectmen who would appoint the commissioners.
So I just wanted, do we want to discuss these individually, or do we want to wait for Dan to go through it and come back?
Why don't we, if you've addressed one, like number 1 here, we can discuss it. If somebody wants to
I do.
have a question, we can do that. and then
Okay,
we
well, let
can
me just finish then with one.
Sure.
We suggested, we're proposing that in the ordinance that the commissioners be appointed by a unanimous vote by the Board of Selectmen. That takes the politics somewhat out of it, and if it's a majority vote and it's a 2-to-1 along party lines, then it could become political, or if it's unanimity, it seems to relieve those pressures and make it more neutral. So that's number one, if that's what we
Did you
want to
have a
talk about
question on
first. For 3A1,
I do have a question on one, yeah. So
I have questions on one.
go ahead.
representatives of the entities, corporations, limited liability corporations, trusts, et cetera, that own property. So basically, if there's a Delaware company that owns a fast food place, the Delaware company could have somebody on this board?
They could.
That's the way I read it, and
Well,
I don't approve of that at all.
Well, you know, that could be part of the excess. What we're trying to do is not eliminate people who reside outside the town of Branford but their own property in Branford.
I mean, I think this was pulled from
Oh, yeah, this
other
is,
ordinances, so it was-
we used ordinances, you know,
it
we
is something that we can
looked
change.
at, and there aren't a whole lot of traffic commissions in the state of Connecticut. Most of are still controlled by the police department, but there's a number of them. I would think it's like 7 to 10 in that range.
How is the police department, how is that committee or area set up? How many
The
people?
police commission?
Yeah, how many, is it it's part of the police commission?
Yeah.
It is the
Oh, I
police.
see.
Yeah, it's a
And
subgroup.
then, how many people are assigned to traffic?
All of them.
The whole, all
No,
of
I
them?
don't think.
All
No,
of
I
the
think
police
there's-
commission people meet as a traffic authority.
Right, but isn't it like a subgroup,
But I
like the
think it's a
RTM
No,
meets and then it's a
It's a
subgroup?
subgroup, I think, of the
There is
police
a chair
commission
of the-
as a
There's a
traffic
separate
authority.
chair, but I believe it's all the members, but
All the members vote,
yeah.
but there are, I believe, 3 members
Oh,
of
3,
the police commission
put the traffic.
who sit on the traffic committee.
Okay,
I'm not
so
sure
we're
if that's
going
the case.
from 3, we're going from 3 to 7.
Well, I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
And John,
I've been in front of them before, and it didn't seem to me that there was a subset that was operating as the traffic commission. It's just that they
You
meet.
met to the whole commission?
I've been there before to make presentations to the traffic side of things. They meet prior to the police commission. From what I could see, it was the same people, but that the vice chair of the police commission operates as the chair of the traffic commission. But it's my understanding that all of them it's the same group.
I think that it's important to understand that that the 7 commissioners consist of 7 commissioners who must be electors or individuals or representatives of entities. So I would think that the Board of Selectmen would be wise enough to not put, well, let me finish.
Okay.
Would be wise enough to not put the convenience store owner who is incorporated in Delaware, who owns, first of all, the incorporation in Delaware doesn't mean that the people that have incorporated in Delaware live in Delaware. I think that, we are trying to not eliminate people that have a interest in, a town interest, do I put that in quotes, town interest because they don't reside in Branford. That's what that is, and it's not something we're doing, that's the norm, but
Is that the norm for all of our boards and commissions?
it's the norm for the
I-
entities that we've looked at. for
No,
traffic
but for the
commissions.
rest of the boards and commissions in
I'm not sure.
Branford,
The
if
answer
you
is-
want to
I
be,
can't
if you want to
answer
be
that.
on the police commission, you have to reside here.
I can't speak to that.
John, the answer is we have to check on that. I'm
All
not
right.
sure.
I can't
Anyway,
speak
I
on
just,
that.
I want to make it clear that I want to limit it to residents. And that's how I'm going to
Agreed.
vote.
I agree too, because now I'm looking at the Airbnbs. These people they live in New York and they own property in Branford. And now they're going to be on the traffic commission?
Yeah.
That will,
The problem is you're going to have a Branford, you're going to have a corporation or an LLC that may have a significant traffic interest or volume or whatever, where it's a Branford organization, their representatives would be eliminated. So I don't know. We took it from other areas. We looked at the intent of why that was in there, and we landed it and incorporated it.
I'll put a
into-
star against it.
I already
We can talk
did,
about
yeah.
I mean, we could look at like, I don't know, Beach Donut, say. Beach Donut is in the plaza. I don't know who owns it. I don't know where they live. So let's say they own it and they live in, I don't know, Massachusetts. They could be on it?
if it falls within the scriptures
The way
of
it's
this, I would like to believe that our Board of Selectmen
Right.
wouldn't take the owner of Beach Donut
But it
and
could happen.
put him on the
Could
traffic
happen, and
commission.
that's- I've actually looked at the Secretary of State's list of all the businesses that are
That's in
domiciled.
every state, though. They're all, I mean,
Can I
listen.
finish now?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. All of the businesses in the town, and whether they are owned by someone who lives in the town or who lives elsewhere. And it's about 50-50 in terms of the businesses that show up from the Secretary of State's list, or whether a principal in that business is also a resident of the town. And so we have tons and tons of businesses that are incorporated here, they're resident here with the Secretary of State, but where the person who owns that business lives elsewhere. And so, again,
We'll
What I would
flag
say-
it. I personally don't have any.
We'll start it, we'll look into it.
strong
What I would
feeling
say
about
is that
keeping that
before, an immediate instinctive reaction to pick a scenario where it could occur that the donut owner who lives in Kentucky, that maybe perhaps there should be some level of looking into the underlying rationale as to why this is in most traffic ordinances. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, to your point,
And-
I would think that the Board of Selectmen also would maybe vet these people out a little bit.
And I don't think that every other town's traffic commission that has this provision is likewise not concerned with the donut owner who lives in Kentucky, who has a little shop in a plaza, being on the traffic commission. So, of course, there are,
Throwing it out there.
sometimes the better whole allows some excess, which you hope that there are protections against that excess.
We'll review this further, and
We
the
will.
other thing I think we can do is look at other commissions, the way they're worded in Branford, and see whether this particular wording is an outlier and only other towns use it, or if it has in fact been used in any of our commissions in Branford, boards and commissions. See whether it's there.
Yeah, and we can look at,
As I say, I personally don't have any strong feeling about keeping this.
nor do
in.
I.
I have another question.
Yep.
So what happens if it's appointed unanimous vote by the Board of Selectmen? What happens if it's not unanimous?
Then they're not appointed.
They're not appointed.
So that could go on forever,
Yeah,
Yeah.
theory.
and then nothing gets done.
But we've crossed this bridge with a couple of our other ordinances, with the town clerk and with the,
Yeah.
It's also like, knowing that it could go on forever and that it has to be unanimous leads to a unanimous vote.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
just the nature of, that's the nature of the,
But
Okay.
most of the appointments that are made by the Board of Selectmen to any entity in this town.
They have to be unanimous?
No, they don't have to be.
Unanimous.
Because you don't want it to be
It's
political.
not-
They
there's
are,
no
but they don't have to be.
caveat attached
It's always political.
to it.
Yeah. I'm just,
you wanted to make it as apolitical
I mean, I
appointment.
think that if you got in a situation where one after another,
then there's a
you
bigger
could never
problem.
reach, it's
Yeah.
representative of a bigger issue
Then you
that's
got a
going
bigger
on.
problem. Copy that. Okay, moving on.
So then there was the issue about including a member of the police commission and a member of the public with complete street expertise. There had been some concerns about whether we want a member of the police commission on. The committee met. We looked at I looked at, of the other commissions, likewise of this, which ones had police commission's representative. We had not a long discussion because we weren't on for a long, long time because we'd worked up to this. We talked a good 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes about this. And I think our prevailing view is that it's so intricate and the police are so tied to traffic, whether it's enforcement or otherwise, that it really made a lot of sense to have a conduit of the police department as a member of the commission. That was our thought there. I mean, we talked about not having that. I wasn't really sure what the rationale to not have a member of the police commission, or, as I said, a conduit of the police department to be involved in a traffic commission, but they seem to be so integrated. And just because it's being removed from the police department certainly doesn't mean that police don't have some wealth of knowledge and understanding to have one of their representatives be on the committee.
What does the cross out of 2 mean?
It's an error in the Word document. It was all crossed out, and I got rid of the cross out and
Just-
forgot to cross out the very last.
Stuff you pay people for? Peter
And
did
that's-
it.
And that's why number 2, 3 is not a second 2.
So, on this one, I also have a concern. To me, asking that someone on the police commission do double duty means that they need to be doing 2 jobs for the town instead of 1. So I would say that that's a hindrance for people. And secondly, there is a conduit to the police. You're saying that there must be someone who is appointed by the police chief, so there will be someone from the police
They're ex
department.
officio.
They're ex officio.
They don't vote.
They don't vote. But again, let's look at planning and zoning, or zoning board of appeals, or inland wetlands, or anybody else that has significant authority in the town. It's staffed by citizens who are supported by professionals. So in the case of all its land use peoples, it's supported by the staff of the planning and zoning. In the case of this traffic commission, it's going to be supported by at least one person from the police department who's going to be able to advise them as to what, and then obviously they're going to have to be in touch with the Department of Transportation to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. So again, I don't see the need for requiring that someone do double duty and be on the police commission and on the traffic commission. So
What is the problem with the one individual doing double duty? I think I'm missing that. I mean, like, you're doing this committee and you're the chair of Ways and Means.
that's true.
You have double
But it's
duty.
all within the RTM.
I think it's a requirement that, rather than
Yeah,
an option.
Yeah, I
But we could just change it, the shall to a may.
Oh,
And
here we go.
that way-
Well, I personally, and I've looked at, and read the background of other ordinances, I think it's foolish to not have an automatic member of the police be
I have
on the
a tendency to
commission.
agree, because
I
they
mean,
have
they
the
are,
history.
it's so integral to traffic, just like we would want professional engineers, safe street.
And that would be up to them to say who wants to do it. You know,
Well, it's still, I mean, playing devil's advocate, it's still forcing somebody, rather than having it be optional, a suggested option. Or we're forcing somebody to take that double role. Pretty much, I mean, I know that there are a lot of people that are, for instance, on the Planning and Zoning Commission, they're also on our coastal group. And
Why
doing
is the double,
duty.
why is asking an individual to be on 2 commissions, what's the downside of that?
Because you're not
But
asking,
if
you're
your
telling.
point is to take it away from the Branford Police Commission by creating a Branford Traffic Commission, why would you then ask a member of the police commission that you've taken it away from?
Because they
on it?
because they bring something to the table. We're not asking them to be the we're not. we're
They don't
taking
have to be the
We're
chair.
taking the entire commission away from the police department. That doesn't mean we eliminate the police who are in charge of
Oh, I'm not saying
regular.
that. The traffic committee of the police commission is an integral part of working with the PD. The police officer goes out with a member of this commission and looks at the stop sign. Do we have sight lines? I mean, the police know a lot about traffic, let's face it. So they're
That's the
having
reason.
the PD involved makes total sense. Having a civilian who's simply a member of the police commission, to me, does not make as much sense.
Well, the people that are on the traffic committee do have certain requirements that they have to meet. There's some training requirements, et cetera. So those people, there may be civilians, but they do have, some training background. And I think it makes sense if we had somebody that was willing to do it. And that's why I was thinking we could change it to may instead of shall. The problem I have is that what happens, for instance, if nobody that's on the police commission wants to be, they just say, no, I don't want to be it. What do we do then? Are we forcing somebody to because they signed up for the police commission to potentially be assigned to another
I have
body?
a question. All right, so we're gonna take the committee away from, we're taking the traffic away from the police commission.
Yes.
We're taking that away from them. So now when we create this commission, this Branford Traffic Commission, who are they gonna discuss their issues with? Don't they have to go back to the police commission and discuss problems and issues and whatnot?
The way later on, we'll get to that, but if this body takes on certain actions, they have to, for any action that they take on that's a change,
Yep.
signage, et cetera, they have to get a review by the police department, and they have to get a review by the town staff through Josh and the police chief.
Okay.
That's a requirement for anything that they want to do, that they get a review and they get a response. They don't have to follow it, but they have to get it.
That being said, I think I like the may. This way here, if somebody is really interested in that particular, they could be if they wanted to be. They don't have to be,
I would go with May.
because, like what you just said, they're gonna go back anyway. They're gonna be involved in one way or another.
It's not so much.
Or even if it's like a
Yeah,
liaison.
it's not, yeah, I just think that they have a level of expertise and.
Agreed.
And whether it's the police commissioner himself, but a conduit to the police department who's.
The conduit exists because the police chief is going to name somebody as an ex officio. And then
But they don't vote.
anything,
But
and
they
then
don't vote.
anything that happens for this commission, any step that they want to take is going to be reviewed by the police, as Tracy was just saying. But
John, there isn't-
I'm sorry, let me finish one more thing here. If you look down at the next thing where we're talking about qualifications, it says that all the representatives must comply on an annual basis with all the training requirements pursuant to this piece of the code that relates directly to this. There's a whole traffic commission kind of training stuff that goes on at the state level.
Not for all the members. One member,
Yeah, actually,
one member of the
But
traffic commission. has
you've
to
got
do it.
in here that all the
Yeah,
members,
but no.
No,
That's
no, that's not what that
The
says.
requirement is that they meet these requirements, but that actually stipulates that only one member
okay.
has to be.
Right.
So this body, once it's put together, is going to develop the expertise it needs to oversee the traffic and the safe streets things. And we're taking this out of the police commission. If somebody from the police commission wants to come on the board and the board of selectmen say yes, great. But if they don't, that's fine too, because this body of citizens needs to develop the expertise to do what they're supposed to do.
John, why,
Don,
but,
just one second. One thing I'd point out is that ex officio is very different from an actual committee member.
Correct.
Because they don't have to come to the meetings. The ex officios do not have to come. They may come,
Okay.
and they don't have voting privileges. So I think there is a difference there. Potentially, we could have nobody showing up from the police department in the midst of these discussions.
That's unlikely, but okay.
Well, we might.
but I'm just thinking, my thought process was, they are a well-sourced resource
Yep.
in traffic, the police.
Yep.
So,
Again, you're not losing the police commission.
John, we're not having a voting member. We're not guaranteeing a voting member.
We don't
And we're not
need-
guaranteeing a member of the police department that has to come to the police department. So it's different. So we are not having, we are not, we are losing a member of a conduit of the police department from being on the traffic commission.
Okay, let's
That's what we're
let's do
looking
this. We're not in, what we're trying to do tonight is not to resolve
All
any
problems.
difference or points that we want to bring out, is to identify them. And so I don't want to get to the point where we have to
I
have
mean,
a
I would just make
consensus
the
on.
point, we wouldn't want the lay people on the committee to be, well, they're gonna have to learn engineering to be part of this traffic. They're gonna have to learn, and the other parts that specialists have that hopefully will be brought to the commission. Lay people aren't gonna become police officers and have to get the body of knowledge that a police officer has to do about streets.
Again, look at your qualifications here, forgetting about the one person that you say that only has to do the annual training. It says members must possess relevant professional experience, yada, yada, yada. So there's all
John,
kinds of.
I've read the statute, and I've read the.
I understand that, but I'm reading this, and I'm saying, this is already requiring anyone who comes on here to be pretty competent.
It's requiring them as a body to apply the training that the statute requires. The statute requires one member per year, I think it is, to take a training course.
Right.
And there's not going to be a one or two training courses a year for various members of the traffic that is going to bring to them the level of knowledge and expertise that a police officer has or a police representative has.
Looking at your
And
language,
why
it
that-
says members must possess relevant professional experience, academic qualifications in traffic engineering, urban planning, public administration, law enforcement, or significant other relevant experience. That's a plural. It depends.
Couldn't that just be
Why
changed
the
to one
anti-police
member?
animus, though? Why is it the concern
It's
so
just,
bad about
if
not
we're
having a
taking
police
this out of
officer?
the police commission and putting it over here, it seems to me that we just want to put it here.
Okay,
And
let-
we want to staff it with the people who are going to have
John,
competence to get
Removing
it
the
done.
traffic
Wait-
commission
wait a
from the
minute. Dan-
police
Dan.
is not removing not removing an influence the police could have to improve our traffic commission.
Right.
I want to
Shouldn't.
insert something here. First of all, we could change, and probably should change, members of the PTC should and not must possess, because obviously there's going to be a range of talent that we can bring on
Well,
board
because
here.
one person though does have to possess that, right?
Well, that's going to be a requirement from the state, yes. One has.
That's what the statute.
So it should
But
say
the other-
one member of the BTC must possess relevant
No, it
professional
doesn't.
expertise.
Members of the BTC should possess this range of qualifications if
Which
possible.
means
One
that we appoint
has
a
to-
police
Can more
officer
than
or
one
an
person from the
engineer or
commission
somebody.
get this training as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't
Then I think-
mean, that doesn't mean that we appoint a layperson to get this experience. It means the commission is made up of people that have this experience. Thus, we appoint somebody that has engineering experience, police experience. That's the whole point of that sentence. The commission should be made up of people with this experience. Not that the commission appoints lay people that gather this experience while they're on the committee. The next statute talks about the mandatory training they have to do pursuant to the statute. So that's about who is selected out of this group of people we're
So the
talking about.
Second point I was going to make is to point out the fact that there is a difference between members of the commission having relevant types of expertise and the value of that to the decisions they have to make, and a member of the commission being on the police commission, because that's a linkage to our Branford Police Department and our Branford-specific issues, et cetera, much more so than just their general knowledge of these things. So I don't think we can conflate those two necessarily as being one and the same.
That initial sentence is in support of appointing somebody from the police, a representative of the police, to be on the commission. It's supporting somebody having an engineering experience, having some education in traffic, not to learn along the way. So that sentence is encouraging those type of members to be on the commission.
So from the point of this to,
Right, it should be requiring that
haven't-
experience. It should be,
I don't know,
it's very technical. This is not a willy-nilly type of
Planning
commission.
and zoning is not willy-nilly.
I understand that.
And the whole concept of the town government in New England forever has been take competent citizens and put them into jobs where they're going to do the best they can for the town.
It's 2026, and there should be experienced, professional, town citizen people, and a police officer or police representative
If you can get them to
is
volunteer.
a police officer or a police commissioner is a town citizen, by the way.
So let's
I've got no problem with that if they want to do it.
let's move on.
Right.
We will, I'll get you in a second.
Yeah, I don't have a question.
We will look at the possibility of changing the shall to may
Yep, I got that.
to there. We'll
And the must as
look
well.
at possibly changing must to should there.
With that being said, the
I think
should-
must should stay, but we will, I have it.
Is it in one or more? Possess
Well, that-
relevant,
yeah, that-
in one or more? I mean, no one person's gonna have all this expertise.
Yeah, I mean,
It's pretty clear that not every
if
individual
we have,
has to have
if we,
all of
I
those.
didn't-
if you look at something like the Planning and
Have
Zoning
one or
Commission, you
more
could have,
of these-
in the Planning and Zoning Commission, a list of
I'm a simple
qualifications, I'm sorry, Trish.
That's
A list,
okay.
list of qualifications such as this pertinent to planning. You could list them out. The fact of the matter is that if you look at the Planning and Zoning Commissioners that are there, the expertise is very smattered and different one from the other. Some have virtually none of what you would consider be the requirements, and others have
This is
one
true.
or two, but not all.
But I don't know
So-
what the relevance of that is, because we're not planning and zoning, and we're not drafting that
No, my
commission.
point is that if we're going to say, we can't say that all the commissioners that we're going to appoint have to have all of these expertises. I mean, that's not going to
We're
happen.
not saying each has to have all of those.
It says the members of the BTC must possess, and then it lists out a
Right, it doesn't
range.
mean each member is to possess professional experience, academic,
I read
traffic
it as
engineering.
it, I read it as it
The
did.
grammar says that.
Well, then we should clarify it, that it, you know, in terms
I
of the
read it as
wording.
members, I read it as it did.
Yeah,
And
so
then,
we,
it's
that's
like
a matter of.
you're pigeonholing everybody to be, and you have to possess.
The totality of the
professional
members, we can clean that language.
So I think we.
In one or more,
Yeah,
one
we'll-
or more.
We'll look at
of the
this and see
relevant-
whether we can,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
word.
That
something
sentence,
a
by
little-
the way, is in every single traffic commission in the state.
It's pretty harsh.
Okay, let's go on to C, Dan.
Could I
Could
ask
I-
one
could I ask a
really
question?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed you.
So the police commission is not made up of policemen
No,
and women.
no, it's public.
So I think, you know, Dan's points, you know, we want police. I'd rather have a police person, a police woman or man on the
They can't.
commission
They
than.
They can't.
They
be
can't,
a
that's,
member of it.
and that's why I
They
said the
have-
word conduit.
They have
Yeah,
That's not
schedules
allowed.
Yeah.
they have to abide by.
Anyway, I think the connection, given that it's not, we're not talking about people who work in the police department, we're talking about people on the police commission. They could be as knowledgeable.
I mean, that's the reason for
Or
having the
lack of
chief be
knowledge.
ex officio or
Yeah.
designee, because you
Yeah,
want
anyway.
somebody that does have that direct linkage. Did you have a question?
I did. Would it be not a good idea for a member of the Public Works Department also to be?
It very well may, yeah.
They're on the consult list, so that
Yeah.
anything that is proposed by the commission has to get reviewed by the town staff, which includes the
Okay.
DPW staff and the town engineer, et cetera. That's all handled through Josh, rather than designating the individuals, town staff. Josh is considered to be the person that will push whatever the requirement is to the appropriate town staff for review.
Okay.
But it is a requirement that these actions get reviewed.
Susan's doing it.
I just have one question. So is the way that we've put it together, is there always somebody who's going to be at the meeting who is the expert person? So the police chief isn't going to be at all the meetings. And so do we have another person planned that could be the person who would advise the commission of this is what the rules are, this is how a policeman usually operates in these circumstances, who would give you that professional information?
Well, that's going to depend on who the BOS appoints.
But we're not are we requiring that there should be somebody with some
Well,
specific
this
expertise?
had required one of the members to be a police commissioner as a conduit of the police department.
Okay.
And
With a
it seems
voting.
to be that there's got to be further discussion whether that's
They're not a
compulsory as a
policeman.
shall or.
No, I know,
or
police commissioner.
advisory.
But there's not a police officer per se
No,
that
you
is.
can't, you
can't.
We
can't.
can't, which is why we landed on the police commissioner.
I see,
Which is
okay.
why, by the way, probably more than half the towns that have these authorities have
But
that
there
police
is,
commissioner. That's-
one thing I'd point
that's
out
something we
on
just
these
plucked out of
commissions
thin
is
air.
Yeah, no, I get it.
there is no reason
No, it
if the
makes sense.
commission is discussing a certain action they want to take and they need advice.
Right.
That they can request somebody from the police department to come and testify and opine about whatever the subject is, or from a town department, from engineering or from DPW, et cetera. They can ask that
I bought a bottle of
expertise
water
to be
in the
present
damn car.
and discuss
But
that issue. They're
it's
just
the
not a
hope
member
that
of
the
the commission.
board, the commission itself has members with that expertise, which is what B1 is trying to put forth.
Yeah, I think you really need it. I served on the Emergency Services Commission in New Canaan, and we had members of the Emergency Services Group serve on the commission with us, and it was really handy, because then when you said, well, what is the right procedure here, they knew right away what the right procedure was.
Even if, I get it that this commission is to set the right procedures, but just technical questions that
Yeah,
years
right.
and decades of
There's a lot of
police. I don't know. That's what I think B1 is trying to get, is those types of people to be on there.
So we'll
Copy.
we'll look
come
at
back
the
to
wording on
that.
that.
But
Great.
to that point, wouldn't, I mean, the current traffic under the police commission, there's a lieutenant, at least there was, who was simply assigned to traffic. And the traffic laws, just like most laws, are voluminous, all right? So if you have that person who's designated from the police department, I don't know if that's in here, but I think you need that law enforcement aspect. Not necessarily to be a member of the commission, but to attend the meetings.
And that's why the ex officio police chief can have a designee, which could be that very person that
At any point in
would
time.
be there at
Right.
the meetings, hopefully at most of the meetings.
Right.
I can, 99%, there's going to be somebody there from the police department to every one of those meetings.
I would hope so.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
That's what they do now. Oh.
Okay, so let's go on to C.
So C1, when we started doing this draft, and we had a few other ex officio members we had discussed, and in conversations, basically, Peter, I think it was between you and Josh. Josh and I had a brief conversation about it, but Josh's suggestion was we limited the ex officio members to the two that we've put here, which would be the first selectman, which now is Josh, but obviously the ordinance would run past his duration, and the Branford police chief. And Peter, if you want to talk about the conversations you had with Josh, I was not party to that, as to how we landed on those two. I think his theory was that,
I think that Josh's, we originally wanted to be getting advice from, for instance, Public Works and the engineering department, or actions that were going to be taken. And Josh's feeling was, and I think I agree with him after hearing it, was that in reality, since all of those departmental heads who you might want to refer to come under his jurisdiction, that it's cleaner for him if he is the conduit, and then he can push anything that needs to be pushed to engineering. He can ask engineering for their advice, or he can ask DPW for their advice, as is appropriate to the task, rather than having us identify those subgroups here as a requirement.
And a second or third selectman couldn't do that, taking some of the pressure off the first selectman?
Well, it says first selectman or designee.
Oh, good.
and I think, we keep saying Josh, of course, but we have to look at this as a model, right? The position of first selectman.
First select,
It's
I
not-
get it.
Not the personality.
I mean,
of
the first
individual in
selectman
office.
has a lot, so I would think you would kind of like designate this, because there are other people involved.
Well, I think this is really one of the more will be one of the more substantive commissions that probably a first selectman, whether it be it Josh or anybody else,
Would want to be.
would prioritize, shall we say, I would think.
Dan, just to clarify on that discussion with Josh, I think where that discussion really was focused on something that's later in this ordinance, which was the review required. Because I think we had put in earlier that the review was required of the town engineer and the DPW, and Josh wanted that to be him, so that then he could push it to
Right.
whatever he wanted in it. So that was.
But he was
really
clear
more-
about the ex officios,
The ex
too.
officio was
Yeah.
always just Josh, I think.
Yeah.
We never had the others as ex officios.
So you did,
We did?
Yeah, we had others.
yeah, you
Okay.
had
Yeah,
public
we
works,
did.
you had engineering,
Yeah, we did.
they were all in there, and Josh said he didn't really want them there. I had that conversation with him as well,
Okay, so
and he was saying,
at any rate,
we
we're,
don't need that many
All right.
people in all the meetings, and so the idea that.
Well, it's a question of delegation, too, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A little bit.
All right, and then, of course, no compensation, we're on page 2D1. Obviously, reimbursed for necessary and appropriately approved expenses, however, not to the ex officio members. And then we have a lengthy section on the terms of office. And staggered terms are what we're doing here. And again, BOS, Board of Selectmen, will be the individuals that are appointing the members. Of course, we have language in case, covering the base if someone resigns. And then you can see the limits on the terms in E3. You know, we talked about, should there be 2 consecutive terms, 3 consecutive terms? Should there be a limit on how many terms total? And the length and years of the terms, but what you see here is what we landed on.
So in the middle of that number 3 there, we have 4-year terms, whereas everywhere else it's 3-year terms.
That was from earlier version. That should be 2 consecutive 3-year terms.
Yeah. Like I said, we were discussing 3 and 4-year terms in various lengths.
Yeah.
That's a typo.
And then we added in the removal for just cause, which we discussed.
Yeah, so just cause can be tricky. You have to afford due process to commission members. And if it's not, it leads to a lot of litigation by people that get terminated from employment. It's a big area of concern for towns and for other agencies, but we'll stay focused on the town here. So what I did was I went to the ethics ordinances because I was sure I wanted to just read how just cause was defined, and I couldn't find it. It just wasn't there. And then I did a bunch of research on what, how you have to have it, and whether it's substantive due process, procedural due process, some of which I had a basic understanding of, but, just to clarify in a town ordinance and statute. So,
So is this something we should address?
I've done it, actually.
That's
I
what we
did it.
decided to do.
So
Okay.
what I wanted to do, and the reason I went to the ethics, not was out of curiosity, because when I was writing this, I wanted to cite just cause being defined as blank, 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 but there was no blank, blank, blank to define it. So I actually wrote one and submitted it to Peter today, and we will be taking up an amendment
Yeah.
to
So
the...
originally, this started because we were going to put all the process for just cause into this ordinance, and then we realized that really that
We need just cause for the
wording
town as a whole.
needed to be something that could apply to the town as a whole,
Yeah.
and needed to be embedded into the
Yeah.
ethics ordinance. So we thought that we would just for now reference this future to be wording that we'll put into the ethics ordinance.
You give us another job here? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
I wrote it, it shouldn't be,
We're-
and I did not make copies of it, but if you want to take a peek at it, this is it, and we get
Very
that
well,
put in
thank you.
with refer.
That's great.
Yeah.
We obviously need to address that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And then excuse me one sec, then we can, all the other ordinances, which they should have, that people, it's gotta be just, we can refer to that, so that it should solve a lot more, it should solve more problems than just this ordinance. I'm sorry, Tracy.
Do any other commissions in town have such parameters?
For removal? No.
No, for no member shall serve more than 2 consecutive 3-year terms.
No,
A person who has served,
I don't think they do.
this
I'm
is
not
very
aware of any other
specific
board or
language.
commission that
Doesn't the
has
Board of
this.
Ed have?
I don't think there's anybody this term, no, Board of Ed is elected, you can be elected forever. No, I
Tracy,
don't think
I-
that any of the
can you
appointed boards are term limited.
Can you repeat your question? Because I was
She's wondering about
talking-
term limits on
Yes.
this.
In E3, Peter,
Mhm.
there are very specific parameters about how long someone can serve.
Right.
I'm just wondering if there are other commissions in town that put such parameters on who is
No.
involved, especially if you're asking for someone.
We did that with the Harbor Management Commission. The idea is that there's always a possibility in these boards and commissions that you get members who are perpetual. And the perpetual members also sometimes end up being have a very
culture established.
fixed direction mentality, approach to things, et cetera. And that sometimes and then can get templated onto the commission because that person is always there. Usually they've risen to maybe a chair of the commission, et cetera.
Hinders the commission.
So this was basically to try to make sure that we got fresh blood in the group. A person could be serving for 6 years, they could be off, they can serve again, but they have to skip a term. And then they could get back on it if there's somebody that was really good or really liked it or had a lot of energy, but it was just a method of assuring the fact that we didn't get people that were too terribly ensconced in the,
And I would also say,
Just like-
not that I'm suggesting you were inferring this, but I would also say just the fact that other ordinances don't have that, doesn't, maybe it's time to do that, or that, we want to just keep promulgating the same type of no
You'd have to take a look at C.
limits on and on for the next
Yes,
50
sure.
years, or next 100
Yeah.
years, because that's how we've been doing it. And again, we did do that with
Yeah.
Harbor Commission.
Yep, their term limits.
okay, so anything else under the terms of office? Before we get into
no.
meetings?
And we just we did the meetings,
No, we didn't do meetings yet. We just did terms of office.
right, no, I'm saying, and then we did removal by just cause.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
and then we went into the meetings. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but they'll hold their organizational meeting, they'll elect the secretary and chairperson.
And that again, under number 2, F2, we pushed the same thing, that you couldn't have a person serving in a role like the chair of the committee more than 2.
Well, they wouldn't be able to,
You
according
wouldn't be able
to
to,
up
because you
here.
couldn't serve.
Yeah.
Because that matches.
I think the one that took some thought, that wasn't just organizationally structured and sort of plain language, would be G. And we put an 80% attendance.
I'm sorry,
would like for the
can we stick
commissions.
with E for just 1 second, please?
E or F?
E.
Which- E, okay.
E, yes, just with E. Currently, if a board or commission member and another board or commission has a term that has expired, that person continues to serve until they are replaced. So you want to make sure that people don't serve more than 2 terms. I understand that. I don't have a problem with that. But the normal way things work now, because we've got several boards and commissions where the peoples have expired, like, again, planning and zoning. At least 2 of the members who are serving right now are doing it on terms that have expired. And this Board of Selectmen haven't put somebody in their place, nor have they re-upped them. So it just.
The way to change it, John, is we just change the word serve to appointed. No member shall be appointed more than 2 consecutive.
Well,
And then-
so
and
if
then-
you really want somebody off after 6 years, then the language might want to be tightened.
We'll talk about provisions concerning what happened, to make sure that when the 2-year term is somewhat close to expiring,
Has to be a reappointment.
how the succession works. We'll smooth out the succession.
That's all I want to point
Yep,
out. was
yep,
that,
yep.
you know,
Very good
The way
point.
things work today is that someone stays on until someone is
Yep.
officially put in their place.
Right.
Yep, smooth out the
They could
succession
leave if they
plan.
wanted to.
They could, you could leave
Resign
anytime.
anytime.
Right.
You could just,
So they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
yes.
Nice.
Like we all are sitting
Thanks
here.
for coming. I hope it wasn't.
No, that's okay.
was
you-
hopeful.
Kind of, I'll get with you guys a little bit later. Thank you.
Okay.
You probably should have asked him why he was here.
And what his name was?
I was going to, but he was speaking as he left.
That's too
Um, Anyway, go on.
So, a good point, we will discuss the smoothing out of the
Yeah.
succession. And then again, like I said, we landed on 80% of scheduled meetings annually.
Can I just add something?
Of
to
course.
Yep.
F4,
4, you said?
F4,
Mm-hmm.
in accordance with town charter, state law, and FOIA. State law, meeting regulations, whatever. It was just part of what was added when we changed the RTM meeting
Can't tell
time.
what you said.
Just put it in
It
there.
was,
You can
yeah,
have that.
that was
Perfect,
a
thank you.
Scovich
Yeah.
add.
Thank you, yep.
Yeah.
It's about this.
Should town be separate?
State law.
Probably.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
May I ask a dumb question? What is FOIA?
Freedom of Information Act?
FOIA.
Should have asked that guy what he needed.
I feel terrible that I didn't even,
Yeah, does anybody have a hint?
he might have
what?
been here for the tax freeze, for all I know.
I think he might have been here for this and got lost.
Oh,
Yeah, because he wanted to ask a question earlier.
Oh, I didn't see, my back is to him, obviously, I didn't see him.
Somebody else was talking at that point.
dang it.
We tried. But yeah, Trish, by the way, yes, volunteering their time like we're all doing here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I get it. No, I get it. Trust me.
The other thing we added in was 6, that they would be basically holding monthly meetings, because most of the commissions don't actually stipulate that, so we wanted to make sure that we did have monthly meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, I included that in as my, just plain reading, because I did not know that other commissions didn't do that. I wasn't aware of what Peter just said, so I would have pointed that out.
And the reason we put in the 80% of scheduled meetings, and the 80% can be changed, obviously, but again, was the idea that if we had a commissioner that wasn't showing up, period, that then works into one of the items of just cause,
And I did
would
see,
be lack of attendance.
yeah, and I
that would
did
be
see
one
in
of
the stuff that I read about Just Cause and looked up that, failure to
Are any of
attend
these
was-
meetings Zoom?
That's
Could be, right?
I'm just thinking about snowbirds.
They can be Zoom meetings.
You've got this 80%, but if they're in Florida, for 2 months, the snowbirds, so
Well, that would be your 80%.
I won't want them to get penalized or not
Well,
want to.
that's something that the group has to work out amongst themselves.
Yeah,
but
I
they
don't
do
want to
have the
necessarily
option of having Zoom
micromanage
meetings
to a
if they
big
want.
extent there.
I'm just curious if it's possible, if it should be written in or.
I mean, we didn't stipulate that they had to be in-person meetings, so they
Just
could be
curious.
in whatever form.
So you could have asked the questions, can any of these be in person? Because we
I mean, all
never limited it
all
to.
planning and zoning commission meetings now are Zoom.
Yeah.
Right, I know, and they've been since COVID.
Yeah,
Well, those meetings go till like 11:30 at night.
yeah.
I've been on a few of those meetings and they're,
Basically, they gotta go to 9 meetings a year.
That's a brutal commission.
that's a brutal commission. That is
What's that?
Brutal.
planning and zoning.
Oh.
Okay,
That's a
so
tough one.
let's get into the general
Long,
powers
too.
duties.
Well, that's what I'm saying, 11 o'clock,
Long.
these people are out there.
All right, so then general powers, duties, responsibilities of the commission. We incorporated what the statute 14297 mandates for the powers and duties that the Board of Police Commissioners had regarding traffic management. I probably have that statute here, it's, who's interested. And then B, we are having the BTC shall review and make recommendations regarding the development and
This is where we're trying to
implementation
get
of
complete streets in, worked out.
town's complete street plans.
Good.
Can I ask what a complete streets plan is?
It's a,
It's one that basically are looking at a road system, not just as a system for vehicles to
Right.
transfer from one place to another, but
Bikes,
people,
pedestrians.
bicycles,
Correct.
pedestrians, and looking at it as a unified system where all of those requirements are looked at and addressed and balanced between themselves. And obviously in a town like Branford, it's sometimes very hard to do
Yeah.
Right.
correctly,
Bicycles.
but still we should be aimed at
Streets are
moving
too
in that
skinny.
direction.
Great, that's very helpful. I think that's a good idea.
yeah, it's just a more community approach, getting rid of the status quo view of what a street is, which is from a gasoline-powered automobile going up and
Yeah.
down to all-inclusive to other modes of transportation, whether it be on foot, motorized scooters,
E-bikes.
non-motorized scooters, bicycles, pedestrians,
carts.
e-bikes. Yeah, but
Menace.
E-bikes, golf carts, mopeds,
They're becoming a menace, that's for sure.
rollerblades.
yeah, New Haven did pretty well in eliminating a lot of that. New Haven
How?
had a bad problem, and now they concentrate on arresting the people, and they have seizure laws for the bikes.
Nice.
They take the bikes, and I've seen a dramatic, I don't even see them anymore. I don't even see the stuff I used to
Too much
see anymore, it's
risk.
just gone, from my point of view.
Well,
All right,
They'll ship them over to Branford.
and then, of course, they're gonna review and make recommendations regarding installation and maintenance of traffic control signals, device signs, and markings.
Why is that additional to the powers of the current police commission? I mean, that's what they do, right?
Part of what
Where
they
does
do.
it say it's additional?
Here, the BTC shall additionally review and make recommendations. So,
We
I mean,
could
I
take
like
out
the
the
idea
word.
that this is they want.
I think some of these things are additional and some aren't, but we could just take out the word additional.
I think, yeah.
So then we've got what, B3.
Well, yeah, and, well, there's,
I think the idea under this list of 1 through 5 was to try to expand it somewhat from what the current traffic commission has primarily been focused on. And
Because they're not doing 3.
they're not doing complete streets, they're not doing some of these other things, they're not doing traffic studies per se. Like
Who would pay for a traffic study? The town?
The town.
town, you know. I mean, Guilford, when they looked at their complete streets, a complete street system, actually did some installations, some traffic study installations of ways of doing traffic calming, et cetera. I think they rejected them all afterwards.
I think 1 through 5 are good.
Except for the roundabout up there by Bill Miller's.
Then additionally,
well, I think 1 through 5 also is
I
considering the
remember
fact that there are
saying
things
that
that we have
saying
to abide by state and we don't have our own autonomous authority to do.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
And I
So-
think it's great to include these public concerns regarding traffic issues to get that away from the police department and into this group. I think that's a really good idea.
That is the point. And again, bringing a conduit for the police department, it's not putting it back in the police department. It's just
Yeah.
not eliminating their experience and knowledge completely.
So
That's a good
just,
idea.
Dan, if I can preempt for
On
a
this,
moment.
additionals?
5 through 7, the reason for 5 through 7 was we're creating different levels of review and approval and the process that has to be gone through for various types of actions that they might take. And we wanted to, specify, sort of from the least stringent to the most stringent process that they would, and prescribe the process that they would have to go through where,
They're not self-autonomous on their own
the number 5 basically are things that they might normally do, but requiring that they get a review from the police department and from the town. That's where the engineering and DPW comes in. So that was the minimal amount of scrutiny that over their actions that would be required. Dan, you want to continue on that? Do you want me to?
Well, that's all 5, 6, and 7 are what Peter said,
Yeah,
where there's
6
a different level of tier.
The difference in 6 was that if they wanted to propose something that involved a citation or a fine,
Comes to us.
that had to go through the RTM, and it had to be created through ordinance. There'd actually be an ordinance drawing up that, whatever that provision might be. And then the last one was this whole the issue, which is obviously going to come up, of automated traffic enforcement safety devices, the cameras, traffic cameras. And that, the state has its own mandated process we have to go through, which already requires that the RTM review and approve a plan before it goes to the state for approval. But what we've added in here is that additionally, after it comes back, it has to be then approved and adopted as an ordinance by the RTM.
Why is that?
And we had thought of lumping that in with other duties, et cetera, but since it has a separate level of criteria for the process to go through, we separated it
I
out.
think when it comes to these devices, there's going to be a lot of public input on them and a lot of varying opinions about whether we have them, whether we don't have them, if we do have them, how they work, what kinds of fines there are, et cetera. And some of those requirements may be different from the considerations that the state would look at in reviewing and approving a plan. And we wanted to make sure that the final plan, with whatever specific things Branford might want to add into it, had a final review process and got implemented through the ordinance.
So going back to, again, my thoughts around planning and zoning, they have the ability in planning and zoning, in public meetings, to create whatever they need to do in terms of regulating the growth of the town. Seems to me that if we have a proposed installation approved by the RTM, then it goes to the state. I don't see why it has to come back to the RTM again to be an ordinance. It's simply putting in traffic stuff, like stop signs, like whatever else. And so, to me, if it's come through the RTM in the proposal stage and been approved, and then it goes to the state and they approve it, I don't see any reason for it to come back to the RTM again for another round of approval.
Well, one of the reasons is to have it ensconced as an ordinance, as opposed to not being in our town code at all.
But planning and zoning things aren't ordinances.
Well, that's because land planning typically has been separated off from other town ordinances, although we do have the ability through a town ordinance to cross over and actually
Sure.
do some things that are specific to land planning. We typically don't do it.
I'm just saying, give this authority the ability to do what it's supposed to do. If it goes through the RTM once, that should be,
Well,
that's a point.
Unless there's changes
But
along the
you
way.
don't know what's going to come back out.
From the state may be different than what the RTM
It's
submits to the.
basically
In
the
that
same-
case, it's what the state says we can do.
John, is basically the same thing as
The
the Harbor
state can give us
Management Commission.
directives of things we can or can't do as well.
In the Harbor Management Commission, when the Harbor Management Commission created a plan, it had to go through the state and federal government for a whole series of approvals. And then, once that had been approved, it has to come back to the RTM and be approved by the RTM as a body.
I would put it back to the traffic commission. If the state makes some changes to it and wants to send it back, put it in the traffic commission. That's what their
Right,
job
that's where it
is.
came out.
But these
Yeah.
are things that involve fines
Right.
and citations.
You've already said fines have to be approved. There's no question about that.
So that would
It's
be
just-
where it got approved. You can't
Right.
The fine
approve a
structure is-
fine and a plan
The
before it gets
fine
approved by the
structure is
state.
set by the state already. The fine structure is the,
Fines, the state sets the limits for what you can and can't do for the fines. It says what a town can
Yeah,
do.
they-
It doesn't say this is it. The town has to adopt what the state says. If the town,
The state is not, on these devices, the state is not going to prescribe what the fines are.
What Branford
Yes,
does.
they
is
do.
What the process. No,
They
they
do.
define the limits.
they say that,
Right,
you
but
know.
they don't say,
They
they
don't
don't,
say
just
what
because
it
the
is.
town, the state says you do it, the town of Branford can't do it and say, oh, we can just do it as a commission because the state says we can. The town has to create the ordinance to be able to find people.
Right.
So if the state says on Confusion Corner that we're going to, every time you go through that light, we're going to give you a $50 fine, what's the role of the town and what's the role of the state?
What
The
the
state
state
wouldn't
says
say
is,
that. The town would propose that they wanted that device there first.
But it's a
Comes-
state road, so
It
it's-
starts at the town level.
Oh, okay. So
The town
regardless of-
decides that on a plan, they want devices everywhere, or they want 3 devices in town. Whatever that plan is, and the specifics of it, where it's located, what kind of signage is put before or after it, what the device looks like, how the fine works, what the fine is, et cetera. You know, all of that starts at the town level. Then it goes to the state for approval.
I see.
And if they approve it or amend it or modify it, and bring it back and say, you know, this is fine except for X, Y, and Z, then it has to come back and that modified thing has to be adopted. And whatever, if there are fines and citations involved in a process for appealing fines and et cetera, all of that has to come back
right.
to the town code.
Bobby, you should. Absolutely, there should be a code and a process for all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't need to be done one by one by one. Because this is saying that it goes to the RTM for recommendation, it goes to the traffic commission, sends to the state. If we have a thing that says, if we've got this sort of fines, this sort of process around whatever is going on, then we've done it once. And then
No,
whatever
we've just
goes,
submitted it to the state. We don't have authority to, the state says this is what a town can do. It doesn't say because the state, it has to go to the state for approval.
I'm just saying that the way this is written, it has an extra step in here.
What's
which-
the extra step?
The extra step is,
That goes back to the RTM.
comes back to the RTM. And I don't see the need. Let's set up a process somewhere along the way. that
John,
says-
I don't think you're understanding it. The RTM can't approve it. The RTM's gonna say, the first tier of the RTM is, this is what we propose, let's send it to the state, the state. It comes back from the state, then we have to do something with it. We're not approving it as an
I would say
ordinance
the
before
traffic
that.
commission at that point would be empowered to do whatever the RTM had proposed and whatever the state allows.
We cannot assess a townwide fine.
By a commission.
Citation without it showing up in the code. You can't do
Fine,
it.
but
So
I
we-
understand,
so
we should set that up.
That process can't happen
It doesn't have
before
to
it
be
goes
Wednesday,
to the
Tuesday.
state.
though.
It can't
Yeah,
happen
okay,
before.
set that
Why
up.
does it have to go to the state?
Because it's required to go to the state. The state requires that the traffic device
Anything we
plan
change.
has to be
Anything we
submitted to them for
propose,
approval.
not just
So we have
change,
to
anything we
approve the plan.
propose has to go to the state.
We
Well,
propose
it's
it,
like
they
with
approve
the
it.
noise ordinance, the town
Pardon?
may have written it one way, it goes to the state, and the state makes changes, then the town has to adopt what the state has
Correct.
done.
But it has to be in the town
So it makes sense to
code.
bring it back to the RTM as the legislative body
Correct.
in town.
I'm just saying, you could set up the parameters for fines, traffic fines, whatever, in code, should do that. And then whenever the RTM is proposing something, that's part of what the proposal is. And I don't see what, again, to me, there's this extra step here that I don't
John,
think is needed.
it's not an extra step. The RTM.
It's a continuing step.
The RTM and the state come up with something. Then it comes back to the RTM to codify it. It has to be codified.
Right.
Okay.
We're just saying that before it goes to the state, we want the RTM to look at it, rather than just go from the traffic
Right,
commission.
and
to
what
the
he's
RTM.
saying though is whatever the state, then it's gonna come back to the RTM. Wouldn't it come
Right.
back to the traffic commission?
That's what I'm
No, the
saying.
traffic
Before it
commission
goes
can't
back to
impose
the RTM?
fines. The traffic commission can't impose fines. That has to be done by
They
the
will-
legislature.
once it's
been a-
They can recommend.
They
Right.
recommend fines.
It doesn't go back to them. They can't impose fines. They don't have the legal authority to do
The
so.
RTM through ordinance is the only way that the town can have a fine structure.
Correct.
You can
Citations.
create the fine structure
You can't create it
separately.
beforehand
Why not?
because they're going to be specific to whatever.
Everybody's got
It has to be,
fines.
the fine structure has to be to a certain offense.
All of our ordinances
Yeah.
have
The
have
offense
fines.
is, the
You've
offense
got
is running a
smoking
red light.
fines.
The offense is exceeding the speed limit. Those are, you're not gonna change those.
Those are state.
DRO fines,
Well,
harbor fines.
we can have our own, but the point here is that, you know, if you decide that we want 3 traffic lights with cameras, and then later on we want to do 3 more, why would we have to create another way to look at those 3 in terms of fines and
You
the
wouldn't.
ordinance?
We wouldn't.
You
No, you
wouldn't.
would go back to one ordinance that says if somebody runs a traffic light and is caught by a speed camera, this is what
When
happens.
the first,
And then that's
The
incorporated.
first
under-
round-
But the way we
round.
do that first one is this process, then we
First
can refer
round
to it, but we have
has
to
to
do this
go-
process to get that first one.
that first round has to go and
Yes.
have it set up in ordinance.
You're right, we don't have to do it for the second
So this is
set, but we
basically
have
the
to do
When
it
I
foundation.
read this, you do have to go for the second set, and that's why I'm raising it.
There's a first,
That's what I
comes
read,
back.
okay? That's why I'm talking about this, because it goes here, it goes there, and then comes back
The
here. I don't see.
the one, the
It does go
one,
here and go there and go back here. The
one-
first time, right, it has to do that. What we're saying is, instead of the traffic commission going to the state on their own proposal first, before we codify it to statute.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that.
Wait a second, we're saying, instead of doing that, let it come to the RTM
Sure.
for us to approve, we go to the state.
Yes.
State says what we can do, we codify it.
It's already codified.
It's not codified, John, it's gotta be a penalty assigned to a certain offense.
The offense can be codified
My God.
out here and then referred to with anything that's proposed going forward. So I don't get it,
I don't know.
and,
Well,
you know,
It's-
so you heard what I got to
it
say.
it is,
Can we
it is
just say
possible.
John's objection has been noted? Because we're not going to change, I
Yeah,
don't
we
think
can-
anybody's
we can
mind
say
being
that.
changed.
All I'm saying, just to finish this up, is that the first round of
Has to be
devices.
this,
So
correct.
it's gotta go through that process the first
The
time.
first time.
The second time it does not,
Well,
correct?
not necessarily.
Not Not if we're doing the same thing, and
Depending on
not
how
if we're
we
doing the same
write
thing
the
somewhere
first
different, correct?
ordinance.
If we've already submitted the plan and they've approved it, we've codified it, we do not have to do it the second time.
We may decide, for instance, that in the ordinance itself, we want to stipulate that, for instance, the town will have no more than 10 traffic devices in town as opposed to 1,000. We may want to control that issue. And then in the future, if we add to that, we may, if that's what's written into the first round, then if they come back, maybe everything else is already written up, but you have to change the number that the town is authorized to install. You know.
So if you wanted to change the number, then it would have to go back to the state.
Or if that first ordinance didn't want to put any limits on how many subsequently could be proposed and installed, we could write it that way, and then you wouldn't have to come back for the second round when
That's
they
what I'd
wanted
like
to
to
add in
see.
another 10.
That's what I would,
But
that's what I would support.
That's a matter of how that first ordinance
Right,
is written.
that's
It's
how
not
it
a
will
matter
go
of-
after the first time.
It is.
Correct.
Right. This doesn't say the first time. Right. This, I'm sorry, it doesn't say that. So that may be what you have in mind, but it doesn't say that. So we're
And
talking
if it
about
doesn't
writing
say that, then
ordinance here.
somebody could beat around that.
No, they can't.
All right,
Statutory construction, and by the way, this will go to the town attorney, this whole ordinance.
good.
Okay,
Of course,
we'll
like
flag
any
that for
ordinance does.
discussion.
Yeah.
Let's go on.
Okay, so a yearly report to the RTM for the activities that they have been doing at the January meeting.
This was, 9 was just to stipulate that there is a transition point
From the-
between when the the police
Correct.
commission is controlling and when the traffic commission is controlling. And that point in time is when the first meeting is held and the first chair is elected. As of that
Just
date,
the-
they now have the authority.
Just the gap between when we do this and when we
Right.
take over.
All right, can we go back to 8 for a second?
Yep.
Report of its activities to the RTM annually. Isn't that gonna be kind of a big thing to go through annually? Shouldn't it be maybe quarterly or?
We thought about that. We thought about how intermittent we wanted the report. We spent some time on that.
Most commissions don't do anything.
That's
So we
Yeah.
added this in.
Yeah.
I don't see why we have 8, but
Yeah.
The reason we have a report is because this is really a substantive, big issue that affects a lot of people in town, that involves safety.
And it's on TV.
And we have complete streets, if we're trying to get into that, or traffic
Right.
studies.
It's a
Right.
massive
You might wanna report.
overhaul.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Annually, that seems to be a long time between,
But it's a lot of work to write these reports. I mean, I think to ask them to do it quarterly would be,
Maybe like twice a year.
we can think about it.
Yeah, we thought about it. I mean, we said quarterly. We didn't say it. We thought quarterly. We thought twice a year. Landed on annually.
And obviously how substantive
I don't know
the
if there's
report is.
any
It could be just one
better
sentence.
answer.
Exactly.
or it could
I was
be
gonna say,
a real full-blown report.
It
on
could be a
what they
lot,
did.
it could be a little.
We're
It's
not
a
for
it's a
sure.
lot of volume involving, among other things, public safety. So we feel that there needs to be some level of
Transparency?
yes,
transparency
absolutely.
would be the perfect word. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thesaurus.
In number 9, can I make a suggestion?
Yep.
I think you need to state in here a local traffic authority, the LTA. So if you're replacing what is the current local traffic authority, which is the traffic committee of the police commission, you would then need to, I think, designate that the Branford Traffic Commission is now the local traffic authority.
isn't that
We
already?
do that at the beginning, I think.
Beginning.
I thought
We're
we took out,
creating-
I thought we took out the word
It's not
authority.
in your explanation purpose.
Well, we maybe should add it in there.
Yeah,
Didn't we
maybe
take
it
out-
needs to be under purpose then.
Look at authority commission created. Pursuant to the town of Branford,
But-
Mass. Traffic Commission.
An LTA is part of government entity, right? Every town has an LTA.
That's a generic term. LTA is a
Yeah.
generic term.
Well, it's under Connecticut.gov.
Yeah.
Every individual city or town in Connecticut has its own designated local traffic authority.
Which is
LTA.
ours is the
Yeah,
police
which-
commission.
Right,
calling
but I
it.
think you need to put that in.
Look at the first sentence though. of the purpose. Establish a local traffic commission in the town of Branford will assume
Right,
powers and
but it
duties
needs- that
related
specific language may need to be added.
to
We just
traffic
have, you just
previously
want
held
us
by
to
the
reference the
Branford Board
words
of Police
LTE
Commissioners.
somewhere in
Yeah,
here.
I think you put it in that first sentence.
We can add it.
Assume the powers and duties as the local transit authority
Yeah.
previously held. I would just insert as the local traffic authority
Yeah.
in that second line. And then there's no question.
Okay.
So then we did the effective date of the ordinances, when talked about the transfer of power, and then the normal catch-all line about statutory provisions if
Right.
they conflict, which is not in every ordinance, but should be in every ordinance.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, should be.
Well done,
Wow,
We,
yeah.
Attorney
Good work.
Do I have a
Gentleman.
motion
Yeah, well,
from
it's a
somebody that
group effort.
we
Well done.
refer this?
So moved.
Have a second?
Me.
Everyone in favor of asking for the referral of this item?
Oh, yes.
I'll email you this if you have any interest in the ethics thing.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I don't know what
The question is, should we be going back and doing that for everybody else?
I mean, the answer is yes. That's a different question, are we going to?
Yeah,
It definitely should be.
Yeah.
Like, I just assumed something would be in there about that. All right, that's what I got.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, number 6, actually.
Yep.
To consider it appropriate, recommend the establishment of a town ordinance to allow a senior property tax freeze for certain qualified senior Branford homeowners. Again, the working group is Trish, John, and myself on this. And there is a very initial partial draft of the ordinance in front of you that John and I had gone over yesterday. Trish wasn't able to attend this. And there's pieces and parts of this ordinance that are just flushed out with titles for sections that need to be something filled in for them, just to start to get us thinking about the full ordinance. And there probably are other sections that we've left out.
Okay.
But I think that the thing we really wanted to focus on today, rather than getting into the full body of this as an ordinance, is the eligibility requirements, which, again, John and I spent a little time taking it from where we were before and trying to flush it out a little bit more specifically, just for discussion purposes. I mean, we need to start putting something in front of everybody to talk about in terms of numbers, et cetera. And then I'm sure we will change, this as we have discussion about it, but I'm going to ask John to go through the eligibility requirements, and we can, probably on this, we should take it section by section for discussion rather than going back.
Yeah.
So why don't you just start with number 3, maybe, the eligibility, unless you want to go with it through the purpose.
No, I think we're looking at the eligibility and then the definitions, and so there's a lot here. So the first is that it's payment on residential real estate, and people have to meet eligibility requirements. And we're talking about a tax freeze, which we'll define later on. Yeah, so we'll wait for Tricia to come back. Take a moment and read through.
I see that it says residential, so
Yes.
a Branford property owner who owns a business in town cannot put that
This
business.
is only for their residents.
I mean, it says residential. I
It
just
is
wanted to-
residential, and it's meant to be residential, yeah.
But their house, they could
Oh, yeah.
they can
yeah,
put
no.
their
If they
their
own-
house,
Of course.
but not their business.
Of course,
If they're a business owner, they probably won't qualify. So,
Right?
yeah, all right. So, yes, it
Maybe.
is residential.
unless they're a poor businessman.
Real property located in town of Branford, owned and occupied as the principal residence. So those are important words there, principal residence. And we'll talk later on about how we know that to be the case. So it's as of December 31st, of the prior tax year. Okay, so people have to have been owner of the property in the year before. The property owner or their spouse must be age 65 or older. We talked a lot about that.
I say 67.
So you say 67.
People are still working at 65.
Well,
Okay,
we're
we'll just
gonna
flag that for discussion.
probably good for discussion. If the property is jointly owned, one of the owners must be 65 or older,
Same question.
Or 67.
or 67 if we were to
Or
go that way.
any,
And just for point of reference, one of the tax programs that we have here in town now is the state one, and for that one, it's 65. So it's just, that's a point of reference. Property for which this benefit is claimed must be the legal domicile of the applicant and occupied as his or her principal residence. We've already said that earlier.
And I did, by the way, we had discussions about what legal domicile and principal residence sound like the same thing. But I did an AI search on it, and there is some subtle, but there are differences.
Well, one is you own it,
between
one is you could live in
the
it.
two things. You know, the principal residence is where you reside more than 50% of the year. The
Right.
legal domicile is where you're legally identified with that place through, tax records, your income tax, et cetera.
where you're
Medicare.
registered to vote,
Pardon?
where you're registered
Yeah,
to
all
vote.
those sorts of things. That's the legal domicile.
Right, but because we're gonna be looking at people's tax records, that's really where you figure out, is this, if you're living in, if you've got a principal, what you say is a principal residence, but you're not paying Connecticut's state income tax, then there's a question there. And so what's your principal residence?
Right.
So their principal residence could be in Naples, Florida, but their domicile is here.
They have to be, they're gonna have to be
have
paying
both.
taxes. Well, they're gonna have to be paying income taxes here in Connecticut to qualify for
This
this.
has to be
basic.
both. They have to be both legal domicile and primary
That's a good
residence.
way to explain it.
Yeah.
Explain it.
So the tax free is on real property, residence itself, the lot on which is located, and any improvements on that lot. So we're talking about what the tax, how it's assessed through the tax assessor's office. The next one, the assessed value of the residence at the time of application must be below the median home value in Branford as defined by the Branford tax assessor. So what we're talking about here is basically in the neighborhood of $450,000 now, but that would shift. However, the assessor's office is, but the point of reference is something around $450,000.
That's the median home value?
Is that,
Yeah.
is that our current one?
I think that's right.
About 450?
That's what I've Googled it sometime, and that's what I came up with, 450, 425, something in that neighborhood. But we're not talking about a $700,000 house. So what this says here is that this is a significant limitation. If your home is valued at more than the median value of homes as determined by the assessor's office, then you are not eligible for this program. Okay? Income limits. At the time of application, total combined qualifying gross income shall not exceed. Now, here we go into how do we want to set this program up? Right now, for the state mandated program, the so-called circuit breaker program, which I don't know where it comes from, but that's what they call it, the circuit breaker
Like to
program.
break even.
If you're a married couple or married property owners, the maximum total income for the two of you is somewhere in the neighborhood of $56,500.
It's red just because we didn't know the exact number.
And if you're single, the number is somewhere around 44,500. Those are ballpark numbers, I don't remember them directly, but those are pretty close. So that's what it is in the state mandated program. There are two other programs that we have in Branford. One is also mandated, but it's for veterans. There's a higher limit for that. And the third program is one that we set up in Branford years ago, where you can defer your taxes. You'll have to pay them at some time. So it's not like an abatement. The circuit breaker program is an abatement program. You get money off of your taxes. So the question is where we set the number for this. And again, we're going to have limitations here. We've put in limitations like property value, median property value, which is not in the circuit breaker program. There are income limits in the circuit breaker program. The question is, do we use those or do we go slightly higher? In the Commerce,
I'm sorry, the circuit breaker program, you could still live in a $700,000 house?
yes.
That's on the state.
If
That's
you're,
a state.
But you only have income.
But you have income limits
56,
of 56.5.
It says 56.5 plus 15,000.
So
We're saying it
when
might be, we
when
might
Peter and I
set it higher.
talked
Gotcha.
about this, we're saying maybe we put this program higher,
Yeah.
but we have all these other limitations, like
Parameters, yeah.
the value of the property.
Yeah.
The reason
So-
why we referenced it off of the circuit breaker program is
Yeah.
because that allows this ordinance to change over time. Is that number
Right.
been changed by the state?
Yeah.
So if we did it that plus a dollar amount, then our amount changes automatically over time.
So on our
Incremental.
draft here, that 56.5 should really be in parentheses. It's not a hard number. It's the number, what we're trying to do here is reference the number from the state, because the state number changes every year.
We
Oh,
wouldn't,
okay.
we wouldn't put a dollar number in here, it'd just
So
be
the
references.
hard number
Okay.
is to take the state and add 15,000 to both the married and the single person. So
And the 15 was just sort of a knee jerks between us,
It's just-
saying, well, this sort of is ballpark. It's not,
So that's a moving target.
yeah, we can change
This-
the discussion about it.
this is obviously a discussable one.
Yeah.
But the concept is that this program would have a higher income limit,
Yeah.
would have a lower value of the property, or would have a fixed value of the property.
Yeah,
or-
and this is a lower fixed.
And
Yeah.
that's lower
Yep.
than what you could have in the circuit breaker program. The 15,000 is the number that we're suggesting could be added on to whatever the current
71.5.
71.5, right, whatever, but that number's gonna go up next year, because the state makes a change every year into the circuit breaker program and gives that number back to the assessor's office. So whatever, this would ride with that. So the idea is circuit breaker plus 15K. So, and that, you see that again in the top of the second page. And again, that 45,000 should really be in parentheses, just to give you an idea of what it is today, but that's not a hard number that we would put in here. Asset limits. At the time of application, and the application period would also almost certainly be February 1st to May 15th, which is what the circuit breaker program is, which is what the deferred program is, which is what the veterans program, they're all 1st of February to May 15th.
And you have to apply every year.
We'll get there.
Okay.
So asset limits at the time of application, you could not have combined assets other than your primary residence of more than $200,000. So this
Again,
is
that's a soft
obviously,
number that we put in
just
there.
threw that number in. So that would include a lot of different things. And where do we have that broken?
Yeah, under assets, third page.
Okay,
We
so
defined it.
that's in the definitions.
We defined it for now, and this may have to be fleshed out, but cash, equities, tangible personal property, motor vehicles, revocable trust accounts, real property other than the primary residence. seem to hit most of the
Campers.
It's real property. You
Yeah,
have,
it's
you have motor
10.
vehicles in there, so that's,
Cars, yep.
tangible personal property.
Yeah, that'd be tangible personal property.
I would take out motor vehicles myself.
Revocable.
I mean, people got to be able to get, from point A to point B, but
Well, I mean, you could have
Well, then
a
we just, we
Jaguar,
up the 20, we up the
Mercedes,
two.
you could have an
vehicles.
Audi.
we've got a minimum, we've got income,
Yeah, lots of cars.
we've got real estate. I mean, the two things to me that are most important, well, we have this asset, we have three things. We have the value of the property, we have income, and now we're saying other assets. So, and I think the number here is pretty restrictive, so moving on to the next residency requirement. This has also been a topic of discussion in the
Okay,
committee.
revocable.
And
Revocable with a K. It's
Oh.
funny. It's just funny.
residency requirement, we threw in 15 years as a starting point. Again, this has been discussed in the committee, and there isn't necessarily agreement on that. So,
Residency requirements.
yeah,
Why not?
I said 20.
and Peter and I would be good with 10. So,
So we knew you were at 20.
I wasn't at the meeting, so I couldn't stand up and
Well,
yell.
no, you were there because we said Tricia's 20. We're both was more like
Yeah.
10, and so we said, well, for now,
And
let's put it
the
at 15.
20 is accumulative.
yes.
Yeah.
You could add a condo when you're 40 that you
move
own for
around.
6 years. You could have had your family home for another 10 years.
Right.
That's
Right.
16. Then you have your retirement home for another whatever year. So it's accumulative of 20.
Sum total.
Right, because my 20 came from schooling education. You put kids, you contributed taxes for a good solid 20 years to support all the school systems. So then you get a break. That's where I got the 20
But you
from.
might not have owned your home for the 20 years you had your kids.
But it's accumulative. Right, so you got the benefit of being a homeowner when you didn't have kids.
So in any event, there is a residency requirement. The residency is actually not residency, it's owning a primary residence. So
And you didn't have to live in that house for the whole 20.
primary residence
Okay, primary.
is primary, so,
You did.
yeah, I mean, we're assuming maybe, there may be somebody who could get around this, but
It's gonna be a pigeonhole.
it's,
Yeah.
that's at the margin. Anyway, primary residence.
I think 15 years is good.
So, the next one, no such taxpayers or their spouses shall be eligible for any benefit under the program if they are in arrears on any taxes owed to the town.
Good.
That's pretty clear.
Yep. If they bring themselves up to
Then they would,
So
flat,
walk in
then
with a
they
check to
can-
Bob and give Bob a check, and then
Bring
walk down
everybody.
to the hall to the assessor's office and say, I want to get in the program,
Yeah.
fine.
Okay.
But the assessor would have to run the list through the
Sure.
tax department before saying, yes, you can get the program.
And that check has to clear.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know, Bob,
Preferable.
Bob doesn't take bad checks.
I know. Well, he may not know that, but
Well,
I get it.
He
I
won't
do.
put up with it.
We won't deal with
All
that.
right. If the qualifying taxpayer owns a property jointly with a non-qualifying, non-spouse, tax relief under the program will be proportional to the taxpayer's interest in the property. This has got to be on a margin. There can't be too many people who are going to, fall into this, but we just said
Non-qualifying, non-spouse.
non-qualifying.
If you're
non-
65 and you married somebody who's 62.
Right.
But it's a
no,
non-spouse.
that would be a spouse.
That's a spouse, though. This
Oh.
is a, so you have a
Okay, so,
live-in. So you have a
so
live-in.
if you have somebody that lives with you and they're
Two unrelated
62,
Yeah.
people.
they will not be qualified.
But if you are a joint property owner
Owner.
Oh, with that person?
with that person,
That's a pigeonhole,
and that,
too.
yeah, really. So, but this covers it. It says, okay,
Yeah, it's fine.
it's proportional. You
Yeah.
only get your piece.
Yep.
Okay. If a property is held in trust for any person,
Not to ask a silly question,
Sure.
proportional to only getting your, so
I just
only
thought about
half.
that. I just, yes,
You're getting half of it.
If
yes.
they own
And
the
we're-
house
and-
50/50.
Good.
Right, and we're gonna come in a moment to talk about what the tax relief is. So this next one, if property is held in trust for a person who would otherwise qualify for the senior tax relief program, the tax relief may be granted if the claimant is the primary beneficiary of the trust and the claimant meets all other requirements under this program. So in other words, I own a house, I go to my lawyer, I say, put the house in trust, but I am the beneficiary of the trust. So I no longer own the house is in the trust. But I'm the beneficiary of the trust, so if something happens, it comes back to me, right? So we're saying, in that situation, okay, you can get the tax relief.
Well, who would do that?
I know, people do that.
But why put yourself as the
We actually have
beneficiary?
to, John, we have to look at that more carefully, because most trusts,
Put your
you
kids
know, all of our
are the
properties.
beneficiaries.
You threw this in,
Houses
so
are-
you.
all our properties are in, people put property in trust. For instance, I would create a Peter Henschel revocable trust and put my house that I owned in the trust. My trust would be revocable, in other words, I can control it. And
You
it
can
would
take it
say,
back.
and it would say that the beneficiary of the trust, once I die, is my wife. And then if she is dead, it's my children. That's a very typical revocable trust that people put their houses into, and it just avoids probate if you do it.
That's all it
That's
does,
where
though, right?
It doesn't
I am
avoid
not- I am
taxes.
not the primary beneficiary, so that's why we have to look at that wording of this, because I think that may be incorrectly worded. But the point is, the house is still, if I qualify under all these other conditions, the house is still my house. I've just put it in this trust format as a way of, part of my will, basically, designating
Estate
where the
planning.
house is gonna go. It's estate planning. And as I say, most people do it primarily to avoid probate.
Right.
So
I think we've done that.
that's sort of that's pretty common. If you look up the things, a lot of these houses would say owned by such and such trust. And that's usually the form of the trust. There are other forms, but that's typically the form. And that's what we're trying to cover here. However that gets correctly worded, that's what we're trying to
So
cover.
do they still qualify?
Yes.
Yes. If it's what I see, the way
Okay.
I described it.
Okay.
Right. Because the point here is to avoid probate, but not to avoid taxes. Current taxes.
While you're living.
While you're living.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we definitely need to take a look at that, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Okay. Tax freeze amount is the dollar amount of the residential property tax owed for the tax year prior to the application. So, right now,
Where are you? I'm sorry.
It's under definitions.
definition A.
Oh, the dollar amount, okay.
Definition A. So what we're talking about here is a dollar amount, not a mill rate.
Say 1,000.
So let's say that I owed $5,000 when the tax bill came last July. If I'm accepted into this program going forward, it would be a hard number.
It would say 5,000.
It would stay 5,000.
Okay.
So there's no need to calculate something on a mill rate or anything else, just, that's it.
And the difference between what it would be versus the 5,000, that's how much you're gonna save.
That's how much the town loses.
And that's how
Right.
much the taxpayer saves.
Yes, the difference.
Right, the difference between 5,550.
They still pay
That's
the
right.
frozen
So-
amount.
Right, they still pay the
they don't
5,000,
have
but they don't
increase
have
every year.
to increase for the next 10 years.
That's right, so,
And then the town eats that.
so the tax freeze amount,
Yep,
the amount which is frozen, is the amount that you paid last year
okay.
when you came into the program.
Prior to the program, that makes
Prior to the
sense.
program.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah,
So that differential, let's call it X, that gets pushed off to the.
Everybody else shares
To
in
the
the
town.
rest of
Yes.
that, yeah.
Okay,
yes, that's
Yep.
that's the way it works. Qualifying gross income. All monies received, less specifically exempted, to include wages, bonuses, commissions, fees, self-employment net income, gross social security income, gross social security income, payment for jury duty,
That's funny.
dividends, interest, and annuities IRA income to the extent that it is taxable. Interest or proceeds from gifts, lottery winnings, net income from sale or rent or of real or personal property, pensions, including veterans and railroad retirement, severance pay, unemployment compensation, workers' compensation, alimony, and all other sources of income as defined by the Office of Policy and Management. Evidence of such income shall be required, and a signed affidavit shall be submitted to the Branford assessor when application for benefits under this plan is filed.
Now, this definition, just so you know, was pulled from, I believe it was Durham's tax freeze ordinance.
Right.
So we can scrutinize all this list of details.
Jury
This was-
duty's
this was this was a start
Yeah,
point.
it is.
At $50.
A jury duty is really gonna send me over the edge.
Yeah, it could.
Jury duty sends you over the edge, but the money,
What's the Office of Policy and Management? What is that?
that is the
OPM.
OPM, it's the state. It reports to the governor.
Oh, it's a state thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I couldn't, okay.
Yeah.
It's a
OPM.
I like the alimony for a 65-year-old. That's pretty good.
You never know these
Yeah, yeah.
days.
Could be, could be.
Could be a second marriage.
Specifically excluded are Social Security payments to dependents, gifts, bequests, or inheritance, although interest or other income produced by gift must be included, grants for disaster relief, life insurance proceeds, and all other exempt sources of income as defined by the Office of Policy and Management. OPM should be capitalized here.
Where did you say something about,
Where was OPM on this? Are you
it's
looking?
it's on the left-hand side. Third line up. Office right now, OPM.
It's also on this.
You said something about,
Next page here.
like insurance, did you say something about insurance policy?
I did. I read something.
Yes.
Yes.
What was that? Like if a tree falls on your house and you get an insurance claim and they give you the money, but you already had to get your roof fixed, does that kick you out?
It shouldn't.
What is it that you said there? Self-employed knitting.
The last line of the page, it
Well, grants
says
for,
excluded life insurance proceeds.
Oh, thank you. There
but
it is.
also says grants for disaster relief.
Oh, that was it too. That's the other one.
That's your house.
But these are
Yeah.
exclusions,
Specifically excluded are depend.
so you don't count that.
Yeah, oh, good.
Right.
Well, I don't know what about bequests of inheritance. What's that all about? Somebody could give you, 500,000.
Yeah, but that's now your assets.
Okay, so then it's
That's
gonna
gonna
kick
show
you
up
out
on the
anyway.
other side.
Gotcha.
Right. Okay.
That's going underneath the mattress.
Yeah, right. Unless they send you a check and
Do we
that's
need to
not
put
gonna
that
be
in?
good.
Money under the mattress?
Yeah. You could take out payment for jury duty and put it under the mattress.
So
Gift,
next
bequest,
page,
inheritance must be included.
C.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
Assets, and we have, say, definition to needed. So,
Cash,
like
equity,
that.
tangible property.
Cash, equities, tangible personal property, motor vehicles, revocable trust accounts,
We know it's supposed to be a C.
Yeah,
and real property other than
So
primary
noted.
residence. Sorry, what's wrong with that?
Revocables with a
spelling is
K.
wrong.
That's all, it's just a C. It's
So
funny.
when I was younger and we were taking those multiple choice tests, right? And the spelling, they would have like 4 ways to spell a word. I said, sure. I can go with any of them.
Yeah, they all look good to
They all
me.
sound right.
They all look good to me.
It's all phonetics.
All right.
What's it supposed to be, a C?
Yeah, revocable.
The application for senior tax relief program shall be a form that has been developed and approved by the assessor's office of the town. In developing the application and applying this program to individual properties, the assessor shall be guided by the policies developed by the Office of Policy and Management, there it is,
There it is,
capitalized,
President.
in administering the state's tax relief programs set forth in whatever. So,
Whatever.
there we are. So in the next time of application, we have February 1 to May 15th. November 30th, what is this? In 2003, in case of 2027?
Strike it.
Yeah, strike this.
This is what copy paste.
I've gotten caught by that so many times. Yep,
To obtain the
At least we
benefits
got
of-
something to be discussed.
I know, that's awesome. It's
Right,
great.
the application for tax relief must be made after such person becomes eligible to apply as set forth above. One of the things in the assessor's office, by the way, we've learned in talking to them, is that anyone can come in and submit an application on behalf of anyone else.
If somebody's homebound.
Yeah, so the assessor doesn't require that the person show up in
The
person.
certification would have to
There has to,
be
well,
from that person.
yeah, I mean, you can get it notarized.
Yeah, eventually they have to verify who they are. but
Somebody does.
The process, it
Yeah.
can start, yeah.
Oh, what is this A here? Important.
A was what was in one of the other
Yeah,
ordinances
strike
for,
that. Strike it. We don't have it, no extensions.
6A,
Yeah,
you
6A.
making a
The whole thing?
unilateral decision.
I am,
Did the whole thing get struck?
the whole thing.
John
6A
just said it
struck.
got struck.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess he was very quick with that pen.
I was, and here's why. Because the current programs, both the circuit breaker and the deferral program, and the third one, the veterans program, are all like finish.
Yeah.
There is no
February 1st,
extension.
May 15th, no extension.
I like
Again,
it.
Reminder, I
So,
put things in here for discussion, they can be taken out.
Yeah.
yes. and I
Get
just-
your
John
act
just-
after we
together.
discuss them.
And I just
John
don't-
just took them
He
out.
just whipped that pen
So
right
I will
around.
follow suit and.
All right,
Done.
annual recertification of eligibility required.
Yep.
That is not, the circuit breaker requires every other year.
Yeah,
And as I believe the tax deferral program does, and I suspect that's the same for the veterans program. So
Every year?
Every other year.
No. I think this should be every year.
Why?
Well, because those are state mandated.
The circuit breaker is mandated by the state, and the reapplication process is part of that program.
Uh-huh.
The deferral program, we set up here ourselves.
Uh-huh.
This is totally a Branford program.
And is
Again,
that the ones that are, the town is picking up the difference of the freeze versus what
The
the
state
person has to
mandated
pay?
program the town pays for, and we add a bit more.
That's right, I remember that.
So that's controlled by an ordinance. The addition is controlled by an ordinance. The program itself is mandated by the state.
My only concern is at age 73, required minimum distributions have to happen, and that can alter somebody's income.
Let's go back
Yeah.
and look.
Well, that was covered by,
So if you're only applying every 2 years,
Well,
they could skip a year.
there also are a lot of other events that can happen in a year's cycle that could grossly change the person's status.
Right.
But it says in here, those distributions are they taxable?
Yes,
yeah.
They're not if they're Roth.
that's different. And that too, Roths. Roths are not taxable, so that
Right.
money could just squeak out, alter your income.
So if it's a taxable income, then it's taxable.
No, I know, I realize that. So
She's trying to catch him.
if you're gonna allow them every 2 years, then we could be missing some, they could be kiting, like you kite a check, and they could be
I hear
circumventing
what
the
you're
system
saying.
for a year, because it's
Let-
gonna show up in income.
Let me,
You gotta remember, it's also assets.
And it's only a year, so even if
Only a year.
they wanna screw us for a year, that's on
it's
them.
only a year, and this is gonna require more administration
Yeah,
by the assessor's office.
yeah, it's only a year.
More caseload on them. So I would prefer every other year for that reason.
Well, that's what I was saying
Is
about
there-
every year.
Some of the primary things that could change grossly a
you're saying
person's
every year?
status would be,
No, I would go every other, even maybe every 3 years.
No, you can't go 3 years, because a lot of things can change in 3 years.
inheritance is
Yeah.
one thing that can change
Yeah.
grossly a person's status.
Another person, one person passes away, the income gets, lowered, a lot of things can change in 3 years, 2 years I get.
Well, there is a way around this.
I would say that.
There is a way
Yeah,
around
2 years.
it. We could-
Unless we say there's a penalty for lying to me.
No,
Yeah, well, that's
I have,
called arrest.
I have heard it's put in a different way. We can say that the certifications, the process gets done every 2 years, but the applicant has to notify the town if
Situation
Certain
changes.
changes.
certain, if there are substantial changes in X, Y, or Z.
Your income.
I've seen that written in one of
Yeah.
these places, and that would be
Yeah.
a way of
And so what is it?
keeping the paperwork down.
How do you, and it's not biannual, it's,
Semi-annual, no, biannual.
Biannual.
it's
biannual.
oh, I'm thinking semi, right, so it's biannual.
Biannual,
So
right.
biannual, eligible, required, unless,
With notification of change.
right,
If some will have to figure out how to word that.
Well, we should put that somewhere else.
with notification of change of income.
Yeah, we put that somewhere else.
Yeah, that takes the burden, that takes the pressure off town hall too.
So now, the next one here, we haven't talked about in detail. Term of relief, tax relief under the program ends on the date that the property is sold, obviously, or transferred, yes, or on the date of death of the qualifying owner or qualifying spouse.
It should be of the applicant.
Oh, yeah, because people, it could be people that just jointly own a house. Doesn't necessarily have to be
Yeah.
spouse.
Just say of the applicant. And if whoever remains is still eligible, they could reapply.
On the
Qualified.
date of the qualifying owner,
Applicant.
No, it's on the
or we
date
just strike
of the
qualifying
applicant.
spouse?
No, the applicant.
You said of the
The
applicant.
program is applied to the applicant,
Right.
whoever it may be. So the termination of the program is with the death of the applicant.
Well, you've got here the qualifying owner, which is the same thing as applicant, right? Or qualifying spouse. If somebody is in the program and their spouse dies, I'm not sure why we would say that this goes away.
But it may not be a spouse, they could just be two adults living together.
The spouse might not qualify by themselves.
Right,
The spouse is 35.
right. Let's say you have two people. The woman has $1 gazillion, but the owner of the house doesn't, so he qualifies. She doesn't, she still lives
She's now the
there.
owner.
So now,
And she has to apply.
She's not the she's not qualified. So look at the next line here. Unless the surviving party still
although
qualifies for
she
the
doesn't own
program.
the house, so that's a moot
It
point.
doesn't, it's a moot point.
Right.
I would suggest qualifying owner, strike, or qualifying spouse, strike whichever is earlier, and leave in unless the surviving party still qualifies for the program.
I don't see what the problem is with just saying that it's the applicant. The applicant is the person. that
Right, it doesn't have to be a spouse,
program
it doesn't be a
is tailored
husband,
to-
wife, it could be a person.
So
Tax relief.
if we just said it ends with the death of the applicant, and whoever remains, again, if they happen to be
The
a party
spouse.
that could qualify, they just apply.
Applicant, owner, it doesn't matter to me. Or qualifying spouse, I would strike that, and then whichever is earlier.
Is it applicants with an S?
Parenthesis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
because they could own the house together and both qualify.
Yep.
Well, it says here in the next line, unless the surviving party still qualifies for the program.
Right, but you've got surviving party, so
So
there's no
we'll
identification.
work on that.
Yeah,
I think we know what the idea
I
is.
got
Such,
Yeah.
if such sale, transfer, or death occurs prior to the filing period, the benefits shall be removed as of October 1st. Yeah, so if we said earlier that the period that you're looking at for qualification is as of the end of the previous year. So, prior to the filing period, if there's a transfer, sale, or death prior to the filing period, then
So the filing period is what?
The
May
point is mute at
through-
that point.
May through
Yeah.
something?
it's February 1st through May
Right.
15th.
Period.
Yeah.
Right. So, in such sale or transfer occurs a filing period. Prior to the filing, but the benefit shall be removed.
As of October, this doesn't make any sense.
No.
We'll work on it.
I think it should be removed at date of death. Why let, if
Yeah, I
they
mean,
die in
whatever the-
June,
Whatever the date is, if there's a
If they-
tax
if
bill that
somebody
comes after that.
dies in
That wouldn't
June,
be eligible,
right.
Unless there is a qualifying spouse,
and then they pick it up.
Well, then they have to requalify.
but they would have to reapply.
The only
Right.
thing we ought to figure out on the requalifying is that we don't want to necessarily have them start the process again. In other words, the tax freeze level would not be pumped way up to current level. They would
Oh.
be picking up,
Where they
Where they
left,
left
where they
off.
currently were.
yeah, so
That's
we'd
a
have to,
good point.
we
That's
have
a
to
good
work.
point.
yeah.
No penalty for death.
Yeah. We'll work it out.
Yeah,
This
so
is-
it doesn't, so the, just because of
Yeah.
the death, it doesn't jump up to current tax
We
rate.
didn't spend any time talking about this.
No.
Yeah, that's a
yet,
good one.
So that needs work.
So,
that-
so
I don't know what
But
you're.
you qualify on your assets and your income, et cetera, in the prior year. So that's how this is worded. All of the qualification things come
Prior
from the
year.
prior year.
Yeah,
You're in a application period before the next tax season,
which is.
July
May.
1st.
Right, May for July 1st, right.
for July 1st.
Yeah,
If someone gets this tax benefit on last year's stuff, on this year's application, and drops dead on July 2nd,
That's just bad luck.
well,
I'm going to let John work this one out. It's-
I'm saying they got the benefit for that year, they've got their tax bill came as of July 1st, that's what they owe for
And they
this.
were alive on July 1st.
And they were alive on July
Oh, yeah.
1st,
That's
yeah,
how- yeah.
that would qualify.
then they're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go
So-
on.
so-
I think the important one for discussion is.
Which also gives
The
that
freeze carries-
surviving
the
spouse
freeze
time
carries
to
over.
apply.
Right.
You want to say
Freeze
something
carry.
like the freeze
Okay,
carries
I-
over.
I think-
Figure out the
Yeah.
carryover.
With the application, if you have a spouse, that should be in the application so that when somebody dies, then it just automatically goes and the surviving spouse doesn't have to go through a whole rigmarole. That should be part,
Well,
When
they'll have to show that they're qualified.
but they
The
could
next
do
time
that
it
as
comes
they
up.
apply, I think.
Yeah,
And that way it would be
Well, they
automatic.
wouldn't necessarily, because they could qualify as the spouse, but not qualify as the primary applicant, because the ages are different.
well, the property's gonna get a tax bill as of July 1st. That's the tax.
Yeah, that's
bill.
actually a good question. What if the qualified applicant was 65,
Can we just table this particular item? This is going to require some work, and let us
Peter-
work it out. and then
Peter's
come
very
back.
tired.
And
All right,
so, yeah, I would,
establishing cap and annual review, so we're talking about biannual review, yes?
so there are two ways that this program potentially impacts
Ah.
all the other taxpayers in town. One is by the actual amount that the program is relinquished between the freeze and what it should have been. And everybody else pays for that
The
proportionally.
differential, yep.
The other, and this is the sort of the circuit breaker or whatever, this is, the cap is saying that that number can never go beyond a certain dollar value. And that dollar value is established by a certain percentage of the previous year's total budget. We're saying 0.5 is a typical number, 0.5% of the previous year budget, which means that the town could never be on the hook, no matter how many people did successfully apply for more than 5% of the town budget. With that, in terms of assuring the public how this might impact them, we can say two things. We can say it can never go beyond this, which is an easy calculation. All we have to do is, it's basically a percentage of the mill rate.
What's the mill rate, 22.2?
Well, this is tied to the budget.
Yeah, but the
So-
budget and the mill rate are tied to each other.
Yeah,
So
sort of.
basically, it's saying that whatever their tax is based on the mill rate, you just apply whatever that factor is, and that'll tell them how much they would be contributing to support the system. That's the cap. The other thing, which is what really it might be, is what our whole elaborate spreadsheet that we've set up to analyze this once we get the numbers will tell us what we would project may happen in terms of how much the town's going to be on the hook and how much everybody else is going to have to contribute to make up the difference. And that we can run once we get these metrics pretty
But
firmly
what
established. We
happens-
can estimate those numbers.
To figuring out what to do if we get over 0.5%, what happens to all the people?
It's proportional. It's not written here, but the idea is that it
That-
goes proportional.
$34.
Well, there are a couple of ways of doing it. It doesn't have to be one. It could be proportional, or we could say that the program ends until they're back down below it. In other words, they don't take any new applications. These are just options.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yeah,
So,
thought about that, yeah.
it's something to talk about. We haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah, you're right. And that second one actually makes more sense. Because,
I see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
These are just placeholders. We don't really have to talk about any of these things unless you want to.
no. Well, coordination with other tax relief programs is, we spent some time
I
talking.
mean, we are saying that you cannot, if you're on the deferral.
Only one program.
If you're on the deferral program, you can't be on this.
The deferral one is where they put the
That's where
lien
they
on your
owe the
house.
money.
Yes.
Right. So, and the state,
Yeah.
you can't get kicked out of that because that's state funded. No, it's not
That's right.
state funded, but it's state mandated.
But they
So they could be on the state
They could be on the state and this, or
And
they could
this.
be on just this. If
Right.
They don't qualify for the state.
for the state. Okay, yeah, it's one or the other, but the state, yeah,
Right.
but,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could be on both.
yeah, the
If-
state and one or the other.
Why would you need to be on both?
Take
More than
money.
one? Why would you need to be on more than one?
Well, there's a big difference in the impact on you.
One is a lien on
The
your
other one
house.
just gives you a certain dollar amount toward your taxes, whatever they are. This one is actually saying from now on, you're not going to ever pay any more than this fixed amount. this
5,000.
frozen amount.
It
And
gets
after, its first year, it won't
Okay.
be anything, obviously, but 10
So they're
years-
gonna pay them 5,000?
Right.
Yeah,
This year,
they still pay it, but
Okay.
next year they don't
They
pay
don't
whatever
have to.
that.
But if their taxes go to
increase.
10,000, they're still only paying the 5,000?
That's right.
All right,
And everybody else is eating that difference.
correct.
Yeah.
And the deferral is they pay for it
Eating.
upon death or sale of house or
There's a
Yeah,
lien on
plus
the
interest,
house.
Yes.
plus interest.
plus interest.
Well, yes, but
And-
not a lot. And
Just as a matter of reference, and we'll probably keep these separate, but John and the tax collector have been talking about two things on the deferral program. One is changing what now is a very low interest rate to a higher interest rate. And the second is raising the, what is it, the cap?
the income caps for the deferral program are much higher than they are for the other two programs that are currently in place. And the tax collector has recommended to me in several conversations that we increase those income levels by 25,000 because they were set in stone back when the program was created in 2006.
Oh, wow.
So,
It's 20 years ago.
yeah, they've been in one, so he says, let's move it up so that more people can qualify. I'm saying fine. I'm looking at the interest rates and saying, the cap on the interest rate is 3%. Well, that doesn't make any sense. And some people are not even paying the 3% because of other things in the program. So
Yeah.
my idea is that as part of this,
Yeah.
separate from, but as
Yeah.
at the same time,
It's an overall.
in tandem, let's put together a
Yeah.
package that says, this is where we think we should be.
But with the interest rate.
And that would be a relatively
Well,
simple
we-
one, because you're just changing the interest rate, two
I
numbers
would,
is changing.
I would put,
And that interest rate would help cover the
yeah,
The loss to the town.
loss to the town.
Right, yeah.
Because you're gonna charge
Because
them
we
at the
pay,
end.
essentially, we lose that
Right,
value of money.
right now, we are, right now, that
Deferred.
program does,
Well, we don't lose it. I mean, we don't get it for a while,
Interest-wise, we lose it.
interest-wise,
If
yeah.
money is valued at 5%, and we're only
Right.
getting 2,
Yeah.
or none at all.
we're not at all.
Yeah, I mean, we pay interest on the bonds, you know.
Now, is that, the interest is getting charged to the property owner on what they owe?
Yes,
And we get that when they die? Or
Yes.
sell the house?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
They
Is there
don't- they
any
don't-
way we can make all these programs run in a circle, so to speak? Whereas tax-free, they pay the 5,000, the rest of it comes out of the taxpayers in Branford.
So
If you raise the interest on the deferment, couldn't that deferment payment, the interest rate, help pay for that offset of the,
It would.
Yeah, but
over
we don't
time,
get
it
that
would.
money
It would
though.
automatically.
well, we don't get it right away,
We don't get it
absolutely.
until they
But,
die.
yeah, so that interest, whatever we charge in interest on the deferral program
Yeah.
is gonna come back to this town
Over time,
at some point.
Right.
yeah,
So
But we
yes,
still have
there
to
is,
eat it
there
in
is
the
a bit of an
meantime.
offset,
yeah.
but
I
not
mean,
immediate.
At some
Right?
point, that equation should be a steady state, because you'll reach a point where the new ads and the deaths are gonna
Yeah.
not gonna change, that proportion's not gonna change. When you
It's
start
always
the program.
evolving.
What?
It's always
Any sense of
evolving.
how many people, as this is being constructed, will qualify in Branford?
That's what, in terms of the projections, the problem we have is that we have a bunch of these different numerical measurements, metrics, and we can get statistics on each one individually. So we can get statistics on, the income level average income level of people 65 years or older in Branford. You can get that number. We can get statistics on
Median household.
the median households. What we can't very easily get right now is the age of the homeowners in Branford. We have to guess that, how many of the homeowners are 65 or older. And then we have to figure out how to guess how many of those homeowners have income levels that are below a certain amount. We know for the whole town what the income levels are of the seniors. We can get that number. We can't get it applied to the other numbers. So there are some numbers here that we are going to have to do some guesswork on, and that's going to be,
But net, if we're talking about incomes around $70,000 for a married couple, but a household value of, let's say, $425,000 or less, and total other assets of $200,000, I'm not sure where that number came from, we're not talking about that many more people who are going to qualify.
Right,
It's just-
that's what I'm figuring.
Can't be, this is not going to be a bonanza for the town.
It's not like it's zero,
It's not like, it's certainly not zero, but it's
But it's
not,
not like you can have,
it's not hundreds.
you can't have like $1 million in the bank somewhere and qualify for this.
I mean, we can look at the numbers of number of people in Branford that qualify for the circuit breaker program is one of the start points. And
Yeah,
But either way, there's not a lot of people in any of the programs, right?
it's about 200 in the circuit breaker program. And
I
they,
think I have the
and
stats.
they have
in
about
my
100 or so that have to requalify every year. Maybe it's more, maybe it's
the
150.
deferral program, though, is a pretty low number.
If it
Deferral
helps, if
program
it helps
is
the
very
people, it helps,
20
that's
or
the
something.
point.
Right,
If
agreed.
it's 10 people, great. If it's 100 people, okay. If it helps the people that are qualified,
Right.
then it serves the purpose.
Well, I mean, I almost want
I don't think
to
it's
say
gonna
that I'm
break
not
anybody.
really into this because of the cost to pay for taxpayers, but if it's $34,
And a rough
I could do
number, I
that.
think we did 70, it depends on it depends on what number you're dividing it by. Now, there's 27,000 people in town, but that includes teenagers and children. So if you put taxpayers, it's different, that number is gonna drop from 27 to, I don't know, 19,000. So that number is gonna get skewed, so it's probably $100
Okay.
that you're saving, Mr. Neighbor over there to be able to stay in his house.
Maybe I want to buy Mr. Neighbor's house.
And you could charge him rent, and this way here, you pay the taxes, all of them.
A couple of things, just to finish this up, we're gonna need to vote on a re-referral of this, obviously.
Yes.
Make a
The,
motion to re-refer.
The committee, okay, let's do that first, then I can go on.
Make a
with the
motion
rest
to
of it.
Uh,
re-refer.
Second.
Everybody in favor of re-referral?
Aye.
Okay. Second thing is that typically, we do not have meetings of RNO or the RTM in July and August. So our next meeting technically
That's a
is
long
going to be
time.
September. My recommendation on both of these two two we're working on here is that we keep the working groups working with meetings in the intervening time, because they can be Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
They're pretty workable. I think we can make a lot of progress on this, but
Yeah.
on this, I would anticipate if we do a lot of this homework, we should be able to have something that's much more fleshed out and ready for discussion in September,
Yep.
if that makes sense to everybody.
So the traffic won't go through, was it traffic?
Traffic Commission.
Yeah, that won't go till September either?
Yeah, they both have to wait till
Okay.
September. We
Oh,
just-
and we still have to wait
because-
for the survey in July.
And the survey.
So
we
all
have to
three
wait.
of them are gonna
So,
get-
yeah,
okay.
it's pretty much September.
Is there a date for the survey?
July's first?
A date for the survey?
The
Mid-July.
contract for providing the information was apparently mid-July. I don't know what the exact date
Oh,
was.
mid-July, okay.
So
July 15th, that's mid-July.
hopefully they'll meet their contract and we'll get that back by then. But it'll be, basically, when we come back in September,
Yeah, that'll be right.
we should know, and then either there won't be any issues and we just go ahead and recommend that the RTM accept it, or if there are issues, then we have to make a recommendation of whether we think those issues need to be resolved in some way first. That's the purpose of doing the survey.
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll continue our working group meetings during the summer. We'll be meeting presumably in September. As we discussed earlier, I think when everybody was here, we may have a special RTM meeting the week between the 1st and the 4th of July.
Yep, yep.
Go over those two items that we had discussed, but that'll be like a 10-minute Zoom meeting.
What was Dan was talking about the need to deal with this bond thing for the school construction, where we're going to get 140 million bucks.
We dealt with it.
And there was something we had to do before October 1st.
We did that in the last meeting.
We did that.
We approved that at the last meeting,
Yeah.
at the RTM meeting?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm glad.
So were they.
You did a good job.
It becomes a blur.
Yeah, I think October is the deadline for that, but,
Yeah.
I think we took care of
It's
that.
funny, I kept thinking, well, I have to look at the minutes,
I have a motion to adjourn.
We had
Motion
it
to
already.
adjourn.
What? You made-
Well, it's a good thing we started the
No, we
meeting
didn't.
early,
Then we had a
huh?
re-referral.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Trish, and who seconded?
Anybody,
I will.
Trish.
anybody at all.
Yeah,
And that was at 9:20.